We are live, or at least we should be. Once the tablet changes over there, we'll know for sure. But we are live with the 2021 Daily Motor Best of the Year Awards. I'm Charlie. We have Chris and Chris, or Topher and Topher, if you will. Topher squared.
The Tophers. The twoffers.
Two Tophers.
The Twofers.
Twofers.
The Twofer Tophers.
Yeah.
Two Tophers traveling together.
Let us know throughout the chat if we have any sort of mic issues or anything. We're kind of working in a new space. We've recorded in here before, but we've never actually broadcast live. And this is the first time that the two Tophers have been there.
Can you see me?
Can we see you? You're a little behind Chris, I will say.
Here.
I think as long as people can hear you, that's the most important part.
Yeah, I guess so.
No one can ever see us on the videos anyway.
Adds to your aura of mystery.
Yeah.
I am mysterious.
So I know we got Pittsburgh Man, Alyssa, Moran in the chat. We're going to give a few more minutes here and start the actual award ceremony promptly at 8 because we've got a lot to get through tonight. We're going to go through some of our more casual awards and then, of course, our bracket. So if you see here, we've got the Daily Motor Best of the Year bracket. We are going to be going through these 64 different cars and coming out to get to one ultimate car, the one best car that we drove this year. And we're going to talk a little bit before we get started on how we should be evaluating the cars. We talked about this a little bit with Tedward last year and kind of what it means here among our channels to be the best car. We're talking about that.
I was a fan last year watching this.
Yeah, and
on my laptop.
Really the only reason
How far you've come.
Tedward isn't doing this year is because he didn't really drive any of these cars.
He drove many more cooler cars than us. While we're crowing Corolla Crosses, he's driving LFAs.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I would have every excuse possible to have a chat with Tedward.
Yeah. Maybe next year he'll be in with us or something.
Yeah.
Cool. We got a whole bunch of people coming in the chats. We're going to be taking a look at the chats. We've got them up. We'll be monitoring, but can't tell you we'll necessarily be getting to all of them.
Can I run it on my phone?
If you want to run it on your phone, you're welcome to. Yeah.
Just turn the volume all the way down.
Yeah, you can just bring it up. What else should we say? Yeah, feel free to chat. If anyone drops a super chat, donation, anything like that, we'll definitely acknowledge it. But we're probably...
Respect the Corolla Cross.
We're probably not going to be kind of monitoring the chat super hard. Although, if any of you have opinions on the cars that we're talking about, let us know. Also, if we get too animated and get away from the mics, let us know. Cool.
We've got some pretty dope beats in the background, so if you guys hear that.
Yeah, we are using a shared space, if you will. This is not
our
DMHQ.
podcast studio.
Quick shout out to Grove Studios out here in Ypsilanti, Michigan. We're using their space. Also, shout out to the to Topher Drive's Boxster. It's a Cayman.
Don't disrespect my Cayman like that.
We're making a GT4 here.
That's how GT4s are.
By the end of the live stream, there will be a GT4.
It's amazing to see all of you together. Oh, thank you, Xavier. Appreciate that. Cool. Coming on about 8 o'clock. Let me bring up something a little more visually appealing for this part. There we go. Where is the best Alyssa Frunk test category? Yeah, you're right. There are definitely... If you guys have ideas for different categories that we should have had in here, let us know. Because this is kind of, I don't want to say thrown together, but just kind of some random ideas for best of awards that we put in.
The presented by was definitely a little bit too small, because when I reposted your graphic for this night, when I reposted your announcement on this, people were like, wait, is this going to be a Topher off versus Daily Motor?
Everyone was like, definitely the Topher. Definitely the Topher.
It was my account, I guess.
Yeah, that is a good point. Yeah. Lord Commander Manny. Hi, guys. Hello. All right, it is 8 o'clock, which means... a little bit of poorly recorded theme music there. Welcome anyone just tuning in to the Daily Motor 2021 Best of the Year Awards. Here with the two Tophers. We got Chris, host of The Topher, and then Chris, host of Topher Drives, who recently broke 1,000 subscribers. Yeah. Any plans for your next few videos?
Yeah. I definitely want to have a video featuring my 364,000 mile E46, which if you haven't already seen it on Chris's channel, on the Topher, that is live right now, but I'm going to do one on my own channel, a little more in-depth, and then also my vandalized Mercedes 420 SEL.
Vandalized is a nice way to put it.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the way Copart put it, so.
Yeah. They don't have a category for shot up.
No, they don't. They don't.
Attacked.
Extra ventilation.
There you go. So we're going to hop right into it. Looks like we've got definitely some chats going on, but we can't get too bogged down by those. We're going to get right into the awards. Let's get started here with kind of some of our just quicker picks. We got starting right off with best lifestyle vehicle. Contenders that we drove this year. All of these cars are cars that we've driven. The Mercedes-AMG G63, certain type of lifestyle with that.
Santa sleigh, it was red too.
Yeah, we did have that over Christmas time. It was cool.
On winter tires.
Winter tires, yeah.
It was pretty fun.
It was. Kia Telluride, an excellent vehicle for all sorts of lifestyle, whether that's camping or having kids or anything like that. Ford Bronco. Haven't actually spent a bunch of time with the Bronco, but we have all driven it, so it's still worth considering. And then, of course, the classic Jeep Wrangler. 4 great cars for 4 kind of lifestyle, as they say, outdoorsy sort of people. But, as we all know, the best lifestyle vehicle that we drove this year was actually the Topher's 2006 Toyota 4Runner. There it is, glistening. You want to give us just a 30-second rundown on everything you have fitted to that car right there?
Well, it started off as a $4,000 4Runner, and now I have about 12 or 13 grand into it, so no longer the case. But I just put a Dobinson's 2-inch lift kit on it, and that kind of gave it all the ground clearance it needs to be off-road worthy. It has an ARB front bumper, recovery points up front. It's just clean and without check engine lights right now, and nice set of off-road all-terrain tires. Gets through just about anything that it needs to. Oh, and I put Apple CarPlay in there. So
Perfect.
It's very modern.
And a backup camera.
Yeah, it's honestly more fun to drive than a lot of the new cars that we have, and just as solid. It's really remarkable.
It feels brand new. It's unreal.
It really does.
44,000 miles on it. 46,000 miles. I don't know. It keeps going up.
We took it to Wisconsin earlier this year with no hesitation. Just let's take this.
Yeah.
It's a beast.
Yep.
Yep.
Next category, best track car. Now, each year, these are cars that we actually drove on track. So even though we did have some great cars this year that would be good on track, like the GT500 Shelby, the Mazda Miata, a few other cars like that, the only cars we actually took on track were a BMW M3 Competition and an M4 manual, the Chevrolet Corvette, Volvo 850R, that's Chris's personal vehicle, and our personal Tesla Model Y. The M3 and the M4 were really quite good, and we actually had the M4 non-competition and the Chevy Corvette there at the same time. The Corvette was awesome, but I was a little bit more impressed with how quick the M4 actually was and how fun it was on track.
That was a 6-speed manual, too.
Yeah.
I kind of the opposite.
Really?
I was a little bit let down by the M4. I felt like it was a little bit underpowered, but the comp made up for that.
Sure.
The Corvette, though, it had the track alignment. It was the Z51 package. It just blew me away. I love that thing.
That was my first time on Gingerman too, and the Corvette was so confidence-inspiring. It was awesome.
You could pretty much drive the track one-handed with the Corvette.
Yeah.
And that's why we gave it to the M3, because I can guarantee you could get around the track faster with the M3 competition than you could with the Corvette. And I mean, the Corvette's
the fastest car we've ever driven around Gingerman.
Yeah, we were getting some pretty crazy speeds. And yes, the Corvette was technically an easier car to drive on the track, but that doesn't necessarily make it more fun. I mean, it was really fun, don't get me wrong, but you could kind of hang the rear end out in the M3. There's the drift mode analyzer and everything, and at the end of the day, you still have 5 seats and can, I don't know. I thought I was more impressed by the M3 as a package out on the track than the Corvette. You kind of expect it from the Corvette. You don't really from the M3. But
well, wait until the
Z06?
Z06 comes out, yeah.
There we go. That'll be it. Next, best daily. So this is kind of just a category of a little more of the mundane cars, although the GV70 sticks out a little bit. We've got the RAV4. I think we drove probably just the Prime this year, but we've all driven RAV4s. We're familiar. the Honda Civic, and that is an entire model family, so that includes the SI as well, and the hatchback.
I just got back from that drive.
Yeah, and it looks pretty darn good. Toyota Camry. We drove the hybrid this year, but it isn't too hard to take one of the other Toyota engines and plop it in your mind to think of what the other Camrys would be like. And then the Genesis GV70. A little bit more expensive, but not too far out of a lot of people's price brackets. I think starts around 40 something, right?
41.
41.
Standard all-wheel drive,
you would
standard
know.
panoramic sunroof,
Yeah.
standard 2.5 turbo.
Yep.
Pretty affordable lineup.
Right. I mean, you could get a GV70 for cheaper than you could get a RAV4 Prime. So,
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
All Primes are $90,000 now. Didn't you know that?
Right. All things considered, we chose the Honda Civic. It really is. It just as soon as we got behind the wheel, all of us were like, "Oh, this is a great little car."
Every single variant and model is good. Very
Yes.
Yeah, it's almost. It kind of renders the Accord a little bit less relevant at this point because the Civic is that much more refined and mature.
good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would buy a Civic over an Accord.
Yeah. Yep.
And the new SI is a blast.
Okay, over to the bracket. This is where it gets a little bit fun. This is where we actually start deciding which car is the best car that we drove this year. Now, when we say best, what I kind of mean by that is it has to be good at its mission, and it has to be rewarding to drive, and ideally rewarding to own as well. So if we go back to last year's winner, the Lexus LC500, that car
Best car.
was amazing to drive. It'd be amazing to own. You don't have to worry about reliability. You get to have kind of a uniqueness to ownership with that car. A lot of people wouldn't. You wouldn't be pulling up to stoplights and seeing the same car very often. And it fit its
Mission really, really well. It set out to be a luxury sports car, and it very much was the essence of.
of a luxury sports car. So when we go through and talk about these cars, yeah, we have some pretty silly pairings. These are 64 cars that we've driven throughout this year. But when we're kind of talking about which one deserves to go on and make it to the next level, we want to be thinking of those things. How was it to drive? How would it be to own? How well does it fit its mission? Is there anything else that you guys would say kind of to add to that?
No, I mean, whenever we evaluate a car, we try to kind of take it at face value for what it's supposed to be and what its intended purpose is. And I think we will kind of follow that here.
Great. Well, starting right off, making it a little bit easy, Mazda CX-30,
Yep.
Toyota CHR.
Well, none of us like the CHR, so it's probably CX-30.
And one of us owns a CX-30.
Yeah.
So
There's no bias in this room.
the CX-30 is actually even better this year because I should say it was a Final Four last year. It was CX-30,
Yeah.
Chevy Corvette, AMG GT63S, and Lexus LC. And I think that was before we had driven the turbo CX-30.
We had the turbo all-wheel drive
Yep.
this year.
Yep. CX-30
That's
is
great.
amazing. The only knocks against it, it doesn't have a lot of fuel range, and now that I have a baby child human, it's a little bit tight for the car seat in the back.
That's another category
Which
we
I
need
knew
next
going
year
into
is best baby car.
Best baby car, yeah.
We'll know that confirmed next year because Chris will have had his baby in all the cars.
Exactly.
That's right, yeah. And
All
the
right.
CHR is just, humdrum Toyota.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. We're now driving the Corolla Cross this week, and it's a better alternative to the
Well,
CHR.
it slots in between the CHR and the RAV4.
Which is funny because it does perfectly slot in terms of good carness, too. RAV4, very
Yes.
good. Corolla Cross,
Meh.
fine.
Car.
And then CHR,
Yeah. Did that CHR have a manual handbrake or was it a button?
I think it was a button. I'm almost certain it was a button.
We were still able to do a handbrake turn, though,
Really?
with the CHR. I think so.
Wow.
Or did we do a front-wheel drive burnout with the rear wheels locked up?
I think we did that.
Okay.
Because I think we car-corded that car, and I think manual handbrake would have been a big plus.
Oh, right.
Yep. Pittsburgh man said Echo. How would we?
don't know.
How would we be getting an Echo? I don't know. If you guys, if the Echo's bad, let us
volume
know.
on? Nope, it's not me.
I can't think of how we would be, unless maybe the microphone would be picking up our headphones. I doubt
Oh,
it.
that's possible.
I really doubt it though.
Wasn't there an Echo in the 90s, like a little compact car?
Toyota
a
Echo.
Toyota.
I think that's
Echo,
what he
yeah.
was probably suggesting
Yeah.
is the Toyota Echo.
Echo.
Okay, Ford F-150 GMC Yukon. Now, I always feel like the cars that we drove early in the year get a little short-shafted because we drove a GMC Yukon diesel way early in the year. So, You'd have to really go back in
That
your
was
memory.
a really good SUV.
It's a really good SUV. That 3-liter diesel is a great motor.
Does this include the Raptor in F-150?
I think it does.
Yes.
Chris and I love
does.
the Raptor, so it's gonna have to go to the F-150.
Just because you can get a Raptor, it's got to be the Raptor for me. But the Yukon was really good, especially in diesel form.
Yes, I do agree. And the F-150 is still a very good
It's a
truck
very
in all its forms. Yeah. Although they stopped making the base diesel, which is sad. They only made that for like 2 years. That Power Stroke.
Oh, the
was really
6-cylinder?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was good.
I never drove that.
It was slow.
Yeah, but you don't need to go fast all the time, Chris.
Chris, didn't you tow a horse trailer with one of those?
Yeah, it was still slow.
Yeah.
It was in Colorado too, so that's not fair. But
Every so often we get double the audio from one mic. It's not often. Oh, maybe it's just picking up like across or something. Well, you guys are just going to have to deal with it. Hyundai Ioniq, Toyota Prius. It'd be the Ioniq for me. I think we all kind of appreciated the Prius that we had.
I've never driven the Ioniq, but I'm going to vote for it.
Really,
yeah,
you didn't drive any
I
Ioniqs?
like that the Ioniq offers electric, plug-in hybrid, and hybrid.
Yeah.
And that kind of puts it over for me, even though I really, really did like that Prius this year.
The Ioniq also has longer warranty and looks better than the Prius. So that's going to be Ioniq for me as well. Oh, I also think there might be an audio gate on our mic. So if our voices are ever fading in and out, let us know because we can turn that gate off. Because I think when we get away like this, it might go in and out.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know.
All right. Mini Cooper S/JCW, that'd be the hardtop two-door, versus the new GTI.
Tied for the best infotainments in 2021. Wow.
Well, Chris is voting for the Mini Cooper.
I'm voting for the Mini Cooper.
So, I really liked that John Cooper Works convertible.
Yeah. The fact he's
And-
gonna. I'm always a sucker for convertibles.
And as silly as this sounds, the the JCW Countryman that I drove in California was actually pretty cool.
That's gonna push it over.
Yeah.
Sorry, Mark Gillies, if you're watching. I know you're not gonna be happy about this, but it's not going to the GTIs.
Just read the comments.
Volvo S90 and V90 versus the E450.
This
Now,
one's easy.
a year ago, I would have told you E-Class, but I was not inspired by that newest E-Class. I think they cheaped out on a lot of aspects of it. And the S90 and V90, I mean, wagon, looks beautiful, interior and exterior, excellent sound system. It's Volvo for me.
Yeah, same. It's just sexy.
That was one of my favorite cars from this year was that S90 with the King's chair.
Yeah.
And that sound system was just unreal.
Yep.
So good.
Jeep Wrangler, Honda Ridgeline. I'm not a huge fan of the redesign of the Honda Ridgeline. I kind of liked the pre-facelift a little better.
It's trying too hard.
Yeah, that TRD edition was pretty stupid.
You mean HPD?
HPD. Yeah, derp. And I'm a sucker for the Wrangler, especially with that new 392 and the 4xe.
At least it's honest.
Yep.
Yeah.
The Wrangler's honest.
Yeah. Wrangler 392, yes. Any other Wrangler? Probably not.
They
for me.
just raised the range of the plug-in hybrid Wrangler from 22 to 30 miles. So if you bought a
Wow.
2021 Wrangler 4xe,
Trade it in.
trade it in.
Sell it for
And you'll probably make
10
money
grand
on
over
it.
sticker right now
Yeah,
and
trade
order a
it
new
in
one.
10 grand.
Yeah.
And this isn't to say the Ridgeline's bad. I like the Ridgeline.
It's
but I just
fantastic.
I guess it got a tough first round here.
Yeah.
Ford Escape, Mazda CX-5. You do have to at least acknowledge that the Ford Escape, you have quite a flexibility in powertrains. And it is probably a bit cheaper than the CX-5, but the CX-5 would still take it for me.
Yeah, CX-5.
I really like the Ford Escape plug-in hybrid.
Did you?
It's fun to drive, too. I think the Escape actually might be a little bit more fun to drive than the CX-5.
Whoa.
It
Really?
does have a
Some
pretty good
fighting
chassis. It's pretty
words.
light.
It's like a lifted Focus.
It is
Incredibly
heavy,
light steering.
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I cannot ignore how good of an interior Mazda puts in the CX-5, and I think if you bought an Escape, you feel like you're getting less than you paid for, and when you get a Mazda, I feel like you're getting more than you paid for.
Is it because you have the potential to slice your hand open every time you get into the Escape?
That could be it.
And
Yeah.
every time you use your turn signal?
Yep.
Yeah.
People are going to like the CX-5 more.
Yep.
At the end of the day, I do think it is the more inspiring car.
You can't judge a car purely on liftoff oversteer.
Nope. One of our commenters said, I didn't realize there's a new Ridgeline. Did it get much attention? It's just a mild facelift. It looks a little bit, quote-unquote, tougher and more truck-like. It's the same truck underneath. It's
and also
still
everyone
fine.
just got the Ridgeline Sport.
Yeah, that was a weird call on Honda's media team to not put out RTLEs, which is the way to woo journalists. Truck bed audio.
RAV4 versus Venza. I really liked the Venza because it had that, what's the roof called?
Oh,
The
yeah.
thing that was in the McLaren.
It was
Yeah.
a $7,000 option in the McLaren, and it was like a $700 option in the Venza.
That's a good point. We
Yeah.
should give Toyota credit for
Electrochromic
that.
roof, yeah.
That should come on more cars, and I don't know why it doesn't.
It is a nicer RAV4. If the RAV4 feels a little bit clunky and rattly, the Venza is made in Japan.
The Venza is a more premium product, but
Well.
I think in this price point and this market, I don't think its appeal is quite as broad.
Have you seen Ken Gushi's lowered Venza on like 20s? It looks
No.
really sick. Yeah, probably RAV4.
Did you drive the Venza?
I was getting my wisdom teeth out when we had the Venza, so I did not even see it. I don't even know what the Venza looks like.
Okay.
So I
Substitute
can't.
Topher was on hard drugs.
Yeah. So, yeah.
So would you pick Venza over RAV4?
No, I'd still pick the RAV4.
Fair enough. All right, there we go. Okay. Mercedes S580 Durango SRT Hellcat.
Oh,
Man,
come on.
I know.
Why'd you do this to us?
The Durango SRT Hellcat is fantastic, but the week after that, we had the Ram TRX. Oh, I see Ram TRX and Ford Raptor down there.
Oh, so the
And
Raptor is different.
It just
from the
felt so
F-150.
dated. Like the Durango Hellcat felt so dated, and then the S580 just feels like a car from the future. It's got to be Mercedes for me.
Yeah, it's going to be S580 for me as well, because after driving a 7 Series and then getting into an S580, it's just like, this car is from 10 years in the future, and it's like absolutely unreal.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. Okay. Ford Bronco Sport, Hyundai Tucson. I actually really liked the Bronco Sport.
Yeah, well, the Tucson doesn't have a volume knob,
Automatic disqualification.
so
is
it
that-
automatically goes to the Bronco Sport.
I think the Bronco Sport is all the crossover you need. It has more off-road capability than just about anyone who buys a full-size Bronco will ever use. And up until this year, I pronounced Tucson Tucson.
I think if I were doing this myself, I would have given it to Tucson, but I think I could be convinced over to Bronco Sport. I think the new Tucson is really good. I think it looks sweet. And you can get a hybrid and a plug-in hybrid, and I think 2 different other powertrains. But we haven't driven the plug-in hybrid. So until then, I think it's going to have to go to the Bronco Sport. Mercedes AMG G63 versus Alpina XB7.
The XB7 was really good.
I
Really good.
Yeah.
love the XB7.
And it was purple.
It was stupid wheels on it.
Amatrin?
Oh, yeah, I think that was the name of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It had, 23-inch wheels from factory?
Yeah.
And one wheel cap was missing?
It had 3 wheel caps.
Yeah.
3 out of 4.
Yep.
75%.
Passing grade of wheel caps.
Yeah.
The G63 is awesome. And what I do appreciate about the G63 is there's no other car like it. When you lock the
Yeah.
doors, it just, the sound, the sound it makes, the feeling you have driving it, it's just stupid.
And the new one is actually good.
At 100%, you'd be
Instead
totally
of
fine driving it.
complete junk like the old one was.
Right. That being said, I think if it were gun to my head, I'd probably go with the Alpina. But just because, if we go back to our ideas of how does it fit its mission, would you want to own it, do you like driving it, I think all those 3 things together, the X7 is a car that's a little more well-rounded than
Yeah.
the G.
They're both very special vehicles, though, and for different reasons. So
Depends upon which head you're thinking.
Chris?
I'd probably vote G63, but the XB7 was really impressive. So
I think you might have
I mean,
time.
I'm the decider.
I think you're the decider.
I didn't spend very much time with the G63.
I loved the G63. It was so fun and had such presence. And the XB7
was
flies
red.
under the radar a little bit. And I
Yeah.
feel like if you're buying a $150,000, $200,000 SUV, you want a G-Wagon.
Yeah. You know what's interesting about that G-Wagon? I put that on VinWiki while we were driving it, and someone actually just followed up on the VinWiki page for that car, and it was just listed for sale last month. Bought and then listed for sale again for like $60,000 more.
So it was for sale for $260,000.
Something like that. I pull up the VIN
Whoa.
wiki.
I think that was a $200,000 G-Wagon. Right?
Yeah, but who knows what they sold it for in
Oh
auction?
yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Well,
Yeesh.
it got
That's kinda-
sold, bought, and then yeah.
The markups on those have been insane.
Really?
Yeah.
So you're saying we should have just bought one from Mercedes?
We should
Should've
have bought that one, and we would have
from
made like
Mercedes.
60 grand.
Okay,
is what
next
I'm saying.
time I'll reach out to Mercedes and we'll all pool in and we'll buy their press G.
Okay, so
G-Wagon.
it was listed for sale for $218,000 in June. Then it was sold and it was listed for sale again for $254,000 in November. So, and it's back on its summer wheels. It's on different wheels now.
Okay.
So,
Wow. I mean, that was a great spec. If you're a total tool, that was a great spec.
I love red. Does that make me a total tool?
If you want to drive around in a bright red G-Wagon, it does make you a tool.
Never
Chris?
felt like I would get mugged more in a car.
Yep.
It was a little scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the decider going to be?
I mean, the G-Wagon really left an impression on me, and the XB7 was slightly forgettable. G63.
It's that, Chris.
Sorry.
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
Oh.
Just
Oh,
a
no
little bit of
problem.
confusion.
Yeah.
I'll let him speak for both Tofers.
All right, so
we
we're
can
going
go
G63. Damn.
I know
Sorry,
you really
Alpina.
like the Alpina.
I really-
I do really like
I really loved the XB7, but I agree that the XB7 is slightly more forgettable. Even though it's still really special in its own way, because Alpinas are pretty exclusive cars. And last time I checked on AutoTrader, there was one XB7 for sale in the whole country.
Well, then it's 2 against 1, so send the XB7 through.
He
This is-
picked G63.
There's a reason why we have 3 people. What are you picking, Chris?
All right, fine. Yeah, I think my heart wants the XB7.
Yeah, listen
Okay.
to your heart.
All right. RCF M3/M4. Now, we talked a little bit about this last year. The RCF really makes a good argument for a car you can track, beat on, daily drive, whatever, doesn't matter, change the oil, rinse,
Yeah.
repeat.
The Fuji's sweet too.
Yeah.
With the red seats.
And just go nuts. But the M3 and M4 are kind of a little more all over the place. They look pretty wacky. They drive really great. Maybe a little bit less character than the RC? I don't know.
Yeah. No V8.
Right. I would pick the RC just on merit of
Oh my gosh,
of
me
V8.
too.
Okay.
We finally agree on something.
RCF.
Chris
doesn't matter this one.
I
don't even have to.
Yeah.
The RCF is really, really good. It got under our skin.
A great used car buy, that's for sure.
Oh, this next one's tough. I don't even know what I'm gonna pick.
That's not tough.
Yes, it
Nissan
is.
Leaf, Kona Electric's definitely
Oh,
Kona
but I
for
like
me.
them both.
The Leaf is good in a vacuum. It's the CHAdeMO charging that kills it.
Chad?
Oh. Can you
CHAdeMO is the
can
name
you
of their
fast charge the
charger.
Kona?
Yeah.
Oh, but you can't the Leaf, really.
Well, you can with a CHAdeMO charger, so
CHAdeMO,
50
right.
kilowatt hours
Oh.
max.
Oh, okay. Well,
Kilowatts. Sorry.
I'd probably have the Kona.
I have the
even
Kona.
with the weird 25-mile-an-hour sound that it makes.
But we can't have the Kona because we live in Michigan.
Yeah. Hyundai, start selling them in all the markets.
So buy the Kona because it does massive front-wheel drive burnouts.
Yes.
All right.
BMW X5 F-Pace SVR. I mostly just included the F-Pace because I know Chris Brower liked it so much.
That was a really good SUV.
Yeah, but the X5 45E X Drive M Sport
Plug-in hybrid.
was
Yeah. You can get so many flavors of X5, and they're all good. The cool thing, even if you just get the base 40i, it's still a good car.
Jag did such a good job with the SVR, though.
Mm-hmm. They did.
Yeah. I'm probably going to give it to X5, though.
Yeah. Credit where credit's due, Jaguar.
Well,
okay.
it was close.
Somebody asked, what is the EV charging network like in the U.S.? It's there.
Ha.
Depends on where you are. Honestly, the U.S. is so vast. If you're in Utah, good luck. If you're in the UP, good luck. But if you're in California, you're set,
I plug all of the cars in at a Ford dealership and take their electricity.
if that tells you anything.
The Tesla network's really good.
Yeah, honestly. If you want to do a lot of road tripping in an electric vehicle, you just get a Tesla. Okay. Cadillac CT4V, not Blackwing, just V, versus the BMW M5 Competition. I was impressed by the CT4V. It was better than I expected it to be.
First ever car court car.
Yes. Yeah, and it was a good one for that.
It was.
A lot
It
to talk
was
about.
ugly.
It was
And the
ugly.
and the M5 might be the last good-looking BMW ever made.
Yeah, the M5 Comp was actually surprisingly good
Yeah.
as well. So it'd be M5 for me.
M5.
It was like hard ass to follow.
Yeah.
CT4V because
Yeah. Yeah.
we should have had the. Didn't the Grand Tour do the hard ass to follow and they gave it to the Land Rover Discovery?
I think so, yeah. And then they made fun of the guy's, like, the designer's house and
Yeah.
everything. And yeah. All right, here we go. Let's get it out of the way now. Ram TRX versus Ford Raptor.
Raptor.
For me, until the Raptor R exists, it's TRX.
I kind of agree with you, Charlie.
Yeah.
Even though we just got out of the Raptor and had a blast, and I just posted a video on it today.
Yeah.
Yep.
The Raptor handles better, it rides better. The Ram TRX, though, is just, yeah, the V8 makes it next level.
I drove the Ram TRX like 6 hours home from the sand dunes, and it bounced the whole way down the highway.
But didn't you find out that one was just not put together properly?
Well, come to find out, I talked to a guy that owns a Ram TRX, and he's like, oh my God, mine does the same thing. And he took it into service, and there was some suspension component that was installed backwards. Like the strut was installed backwards or something.
I will admit, FCA Stellantis build quality doesn't inspire me, but Ford's doesn't necessarily either.
Yeah, TRX.
And
TRX
Pittsburgh Man and Tiggle Biddies both say TRX. So
All right, well,
Well, it
if
sums it up right there.
if Tiggle Biddies picks TRX, then
Ford, make sure you get us a Raptor R before the awards ceremony next year, and this might be different.
Yep. Raptor was really, really fun, though.
It was. The Raptor was good. It was too good.
It's fun revisiting all this stuff.
Right?
This is
Isn't
great.
it?
It's a good idea.
yeah.
Model Y versus Polestar 2. Now we've driven both the standard range and the long range Model Y. And none of us have driven a performance though, right?
No.
We've driven
just
performance
faster.
3s, but yeah.
Just Matthew's long range car and
Yeah.
your car.
I liked the Polestar, but I didn't love it. I saw a lot of promise in it, but it just seems silly to come out with an EV sedan at this point. Sedans are just so limiting in their usability. And I was like, it wasn't sporty enough to be like a Mach-E competitor, like sports car or Tesla. But I liked the infotainment.
Yeah, the Google system is really good in the Polestar. But
And I think it looks
doesn't have
good,
Apple
too.
CarPlay yet.
Yeah, that's kind of.
So-
Yeah. I mean, neither is the Tesla, obviously.
It's Model Y for me, too.
Yeah, same.
Okay. Model Y next. Mustang Mach-E versus Volkswagen ID4. I like the ID4, but for me, it's definitely Mach-E.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Way
ID4 suffers from GTI infotainment syndrome, which is just lack of button syndrome.
I'm not even going to comment on that.
And it's just so frustrating to use. I don't know if I've gotten so angry at a vehicle.
Yeah,
the
you were
rest of
ready
this
to get
year.
rid of that one.
I
Oh
just-
my God. I remember when we had
user
the
interface is a
ID4
mess.
and Chris was driving to me to swap for whatever other car we had that week. And he was like audibly angry on the phone while he was driving the ID4. And I've never heard him that angry before.
Even with the swipe down quick access 4 buttons, it
Yeah.
takes 3 or 4 inputs to do anything, and by then you've died.
Yeah. You were like, I'm coming to swap if I make it. I might crash on the way.
Mach-E, however, is fantastic. I can't wait to drive the
Yeah.
performance. Chris, you've driven the performance.
I have. I've driven the GT and the GT Performance, and
Yeah.
they're both excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only thing, well, we'll get to that a little bit more when we talk Model Y Mach-E. The weight of the Mach-E, I'm not a huge fan of. And the ID4 did feel a little bit more kind of Nissan Leaf-ish in that, like, you could kind of have some fun with it. And I like the bright white interior, too. I think it's just kind of neat and different. But I don't know if I trust Volkswagens, and the Mach-E was just pretty darn good.
I think the Audi Q4 e-tron shows a ton of promise, and
Yeah.
that shares a lot with the ID4.
Next year, half of this bracket's going to be EVs.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
get ready, folks.
Yep.
For
Ford Bronco, Ford Mustang GT500.
me, it's Bronco.
Oh, man. The Bronco is really cool. It's kind of the perfect Michigan car, and the GT500 is also kind of the perfect Michigan car
For the Dream Cruise.
for the Dream Cruise.
They go
But
3
the
miles per
Bronco
hour.
comes in manual, and the GT500 doesn't.
What a concept. Yeah, I mean, the GT500 is really cool. A bit of a one-trick pony, though. And I don't, as crazy as the power is, I'd rather have a GT350 and actually use the power more regularly. And,
Yeah, I would take a GT350 over 500.
yeah. Yeah.
It's
My
probably
neighbor Dave did.
Exactly.
hello, Dave.
I took him out of the GT5 and he was like, I'm going to go buy a GT350 now.
Yep.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah,
Smart move.
Bronco. All right.
Yeah, it's got to be Bronco for me too. The GT500 is so much fun, and that DCT is so cool.
It is
It
good.
is really good.
But I think, like you said in the beginning, if we're going for like, intended purposes and stuff,
Yep.
Bronco.
The GT500 is next level Mustang, but it is still a Mustang.
Yeah.
At the end of the day. And the Bronco, even though it rattles like no other new car I've ever driven,
That's
it's
what's
still
soft
so
top.
lovable, and I want one.
Yeah, good car doesn't always mean good car.
Yeah.
And I think we see that with both
Both the Raptor and the GT500 is like anyone could get in and drive the GT500, and I almost don't like that.
Yeah,
Like,
it
I
would
want-
be better if it were worse.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
the Bronco is
Yeah.
worse, and it's better because of that.
Yes. Now you all are catching on.
Now we're making sense.
Yep. The Honda Accord and the Hyundai Sonata. I think I'd take the Sonata. The Accord drives better, but I would feel cooler owning the Sonata.
I got a ticket in a Sonata.
Oh yeah, it was the N line that we had, and it liked to roast its front tires.
Yeah, it
Sonata
wasn't my
N-Line
fault.
was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even considering that, I'm still picking the Sonata. That was fun.
Because the Civic exists, I'm going to say Sonata.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. I would take Honda Civic over Hyundai
Sonata
Elantra,
N-Line.
but flip-flop for the larger sedans.
Yeah.
Irish soccer fan says, "I wish the Bronco came to Europe. They don't have any Broncos in Europe.
Aww, that's sad.
There's not even like a Bronco Sport over there or anything.
Rip.
Guess not. Come to America and drive one.
There you go. Chevy Corvette versus Hyundai Santa Fe. You can tell I didn't really have a
That's
good matchup.
Well,
for
let's
these
think
two.
about this one a little bit more.
The Santa Fe wasn't bad.
I drove that to Chicago.
Oh, you did?
Santa
Yeah, you
Fe.
spent a ton of time there.
I spent
and you
so
liked it,
much
didn't you?
time. Oh, it was great.
Yeah.
It was great.
It was a really good car.
Yeah.
I shouldn't
had
have
a-
put it up against the Corvette.
It had a slot for my phone, and my phone sat in that slot for the whole drive, and it was fantastic.
Also drove you the whole way.
It did drive me the whole way.
Yeah.
Hyundais have an S-tier steering assist lane keep system.
Santa Fe's good. It looks a little weird. Still probably going to lose to the Corvette.
Corvette's a Corvette.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with
They all
Corvette
cost
on this
$100
one.
grand now, but that's okay.
Since the last award ceremony, Chris and I took a Corvette up north in the snow on its all-season tires and had a ton of fun.
To buy the 4Runner.
You're right. Yeah. What a match made in heaven.
Oh my gosh, it was great.
Lucy, you say it's so blurry. Is it?
For me, it's not.
Yeah, I was going to say maybe you need to check. If you're on a phone, possibly, put up your resolution, your video quality. It might be able to pop up a little bit higher. Okay, Honda Civic, Hyundai Elantra. I just said this, but I would take the Civic. It's the base Elantra motor is too grainy for me, and I don't care for it.
I like them both, but I would go Civic just because. Although, are we considering Civic Si Elantra N?
No,
I
only
haven't driven
because
either of those.
because we all haven't driven them.
Okay,
right?
so
Chris has driven the
Civic.
Si. I've driven the N.
I've
but
driven neither.
Civic
Right.
for me.
Civic.
Yeah, Civic looks better too. Veloster N, McLaren 720S.
Oh, that's Veloster N for me all the way.
McLaren 720S right here. The Veloster N is good, but the 720S is a McLaren. And that's got to advance.
I do really like the Veloster N, and you can get it in a manual, which you cannot get the 720 in a manual. But I was blown away by the 720S.
It'll do really big drifts.
Will it?
Yeah.
Veloster won't.
Nope. You do reverse donuts, that's it.
Audi RS Avant, RS6 Avant, sorry, and the RS e-tron GT.
Ooh, this is kind of a tough one.
I expected to really, really like the RS6 Avant, and I only liked it.
I was let down by the sound.
Yeah.
Chris, you
It's
said
very
that
tame.
Volkswagen gave a pretty aggressive exhaust to the US spec GTI and Golf R.
Yes.
I don't know if Audi's doing that with their European versus American cars.
Was that a US spec car that we had, the RS6?
I don't know. I
it
assume it
should
was.
be.
Yeah, it should
Yeah.
have been.
No, it was quiet. It was
It
very
was
quiet.
It sounded like it still had the particulate filter in it.
Yeah, and it was just
I hope that's not the same case with the RS3. I hope the RS3 makes its nice pops and burbles and
9.3
warbles.
sounds.
pops. A lot of people gave me crap for liking pops and burbles. They said that's all I cared about, which is true. But
I mean,
A lot
the
of
R6
people-
Avant was amazing. It was actually one of the first Audis that handles really well that we drove.
And it looks amazing.
But the e-tron GT just, gosh, that thing was a missile.
it's so fast.
What I actually appreciated the most about the e-tron GT is it was a good car to drive. Regardless of what powered it, regardless of the power numbers, anything like that, I enjoyed being behind the wheel of that car, and I didn't expect that.
that car makes me want an electric Audi
There you
as
go.
like our next car.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
That car, when I launched the e-tron, it ripped the POV camera off the top of my head.
Pittsburgh Man says the Corvette won. It's clearly rigged. You're right, Pittsburgh Man. It is rigged. It's not a democracy.
Yeah, Charlie made the bracket, so.
Okay, Porsche 718, so that includes the Boxster and the Cayman, versus the Lexus LX. I will say, from a view count standpoint on Winding Roads channel, the LX would be the winner. Because the LX gets
just rate all these
stupid
cars
amounts of
on
views. Yeah.
LX is great. It's the last year with the V8, but the 718 is making strides in the right direction.
The 718 doesn't go when you fire it up.
Doesn't have a belt-driven fan.
Toyota Supra 2-liter
No,
versus the Miata.
that's Miata for me.
Miata, for me, I was unimpressed by the 2-liter Supra. I don't think it needs to exist.
However, if you are thinking about buying an automatic BRZ or GR86, don't. Just buy the 2-liter Supra.
You can't tell people that it costs 20 grand more.
It's like
Is
10.
it really?
The Subaru, the BRZ we had was what, 32?
32, and the Supra's like 42. It's 10 grand. It's
Oh,
fine.
maybe because we had a premium Supra.
Yeah.
It's 10 grand.
Yeah.
That's a lot of cash
I
for a car
mean,
that's
Or
less
just
fun
buy
to
the
drive.
Yeah, the Miata is great. The answer is always still Miata.
There you go.
I've been grumbling about the Miata this year because it doesn't have enough steering feel and because the exhaust is too quiet, but just put an exhaust, it's fine.
The problem that Chris did is he drove the Miata back-to-back with a BRZ, tuned-up BRZ and an S2000, and there's no sure way to kill.
I need to drive a modified Indy Miata, and I think that would be the perfect car.
Just go take your mother's out for a few days, do some tunes,
I know.
tune it up.
Straight pipe my mom's Miata.
I was going to say, be like Adam LZ and LS swap
Oh,
it and bring it
gosh.
back to her.
There you go.
All right.
Canyon versus Frontier. It's Nissan Frontier for me. The GMC Canyon is ancient.
Yeah, the Nissan Frontier is new ancient, but it's actually quite good.
It's great. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially in Pro 4X form, it's incredibly capable off-road.
That's cool.
Yeah, and it rides well.
Everything feels so solid in the new Frontier.
Yeah,
Zero
I liked
rattles.
that. Yeah.
It's the least rattling car we've driven all year.
Yeah,
I
it's
think.
so tight and solid.
Irish soccer fan said to the Topher Drives, there's a load of cars you can get that we can't get. For example, the Accord, Sonata, LS, Veloster.
What country? Well, Ireland.
Well, assuming you're from Ireland,
Yeah.
it's possible.
What
you're
what
not.
country? Where do you live?
Subaru
Okay.
BRZ versus Cadillac Escalade.
Two cars that are very similar.
It's a
It'd be BRZ for me.
McMansion.
You could park a BRZ inside an Escalade.
Well,
Chris
Yeah.
liked the McMansion.
the Escalade was only $113,000, and it didn't have Super Cruise. And every time you turned going faster than 45 miles an hour, stability control kicked in. But I don't know. Probably got to give it to the BRZ.
The Escalade sound system was one of the best ones I've tested. Did you get to drive that one, Chris?
I
Escalade?
did. That was like that was actually one of the
Right
first,
when you started.
That was one of the first cars I drove.
Yeah. Yep.
So I didn't drive it much, but
But I'd still take a Yukon over the Escalade, and
The
that kind of answers it.
Disappointment with the Escalade is it is Cadillac's flagship SUV, and it was just there wasn't much flagship about it besides like the ambient lighting, and yes, the sound system was very good, but I felt like it was the spec at least
that we got wasn't really. It didn't match up with the $130,000 price tag.
No, I totally agree. And again, going back to kind of our core values here, does it perform its mission well? I think the Escalade does not perform its mission very well. It's supposed to be a $6,000 flagship vehicle or six-figure flagship vehicle, and it doesn't do that very well. Yeah. Whereas the BRZ is still a relatively affordable, fun little car that you could daily, and it does that really well. And it was a blast to drive, even though we only had an automatic.
super fun.
Yeah. All right, that's gonna do it.
can you do a 2005 Cadillac Escalade Platinum POV? I drove a
It's pretty similar.
2011 Escalade. There's a POV of it on Winding Road. It's a 20. I think it's a 2011, or maybe it's a 09.
And Ford Guys videos, I would recommend the Mazda CX-5. In fact, we both just got our friends to buy CX-5s, didn't we?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of my lifelong friends, she just got out of her horrible Subaru Forester, and she was looking for a replacement, and she went with the CX-5 based on my recommendation. It's always cool when people actually listen to you and like buy what you recommend.
Right,
So
and
it's a
don't
good-
take your
it's a
advice
good
and then go
feeling.
buy another Forester, which she almost did.
She almost did, but then she like realized that.
Right at, yeah.
Yeah.
The reason we're all here, Kia Carnival versus Honda Odyssey. Again, it's similar to the Ridgeline, a solid product that's kind of fallen down for me. I would pick the Carnival.
Yeah, me too. I mean, the rear infotainment screens in the Carnival looked actually like they're from 2021.
Yeah.
And the Odyssey looked like they're from 1997.
Yeah, we filmed a stand-up TikTok and reel with the Kia Carnival with Chris standing up, and all of the comments were just about how attractive Chris was, and none of them were about the Kia Carnival.
Well, I think you have a business model on your hands.
I know.
Carnival's not bad looking.
Yeah, right. Yeah, definitely Carnival for me.
Guys, I will point out, I've heard there's a little bit of a weird echo sensation. I really have no idea why.
Yeah, we can't hear anything.
Not really much I can do about it, unfortunately. Maybe is this? I'll adjust that. Maybe that'll change things. I don't think it will. But we know, and we're sorry. Genesis G70 versus the Kia Telluride. Sedan, newly facelifted for 2022 versus the Telluride. I'd pick the Telluride.
Unpopular opinion, I think the Telluride is overrated.
Okay.
They practically sell before they leave the trucks at dealerships.
No, they do.
And
Yeah, they do.
I don't know. I would rather have many other vehicles than the Telluride. It's a very good crossover. It's very good at what it does. But I think it's a little bit overhyped. And the G70, the spec that we had, the 3.3 liter twin turbo,
Yeah.
all-wheel drive, that thing was just insanely good. It's an amazing car that nobody will buy.
I would pick the Telluride, but I'm okay if it ends up going to the G70.
Yeah,
G70 just blew me. I couldn't believe that.
Topher's unanimous go G70.
Okay. I would pick a Hyundai Palisade over the Telluride anyway, so...
All right.
But we haven't driven a Palisade, so...
Don't Palisades smell gross?
No.
They all smell a little weird.
What was the car that smelled nasty?
Actually, the Odyssey smelled pretty nasty.
Oh, it did. Well,
and then a lot of some.
the Odyssey smelled horrible. I don't know what that was. It smelled horrible.
Sorry, Pittsburgh man, we're going
the
G70.
worst smelling cars go to Mitsubishi. Something about the degassing of their plastics.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is there a Mitsubishi on the list? There isn't.
Probably.
There should be.
Okay, GV70 versus MDX. I already know what Chris the Topher's answer is going to be.
I liked the GV70. It was good. It had really heavy steering, and the GV70 had 2 heavy steering. MDX has 2 light steering. I really like the MDX because it's got super handling all-wheel drive and a really good sound system, and it's got a lot of space, and it's just a very, very, very good crossover. It's maybe one of the best crossovers in its class. And the GV70 is still kind of expensive when you put it up against its European rivals. It's still about the same price.
Mm.
And I don't know if that's enough to sway buyers.
No, I agree with you on the price, but I think it's just so much better than its European rivals, and just that I think you could take someone off the street and show them an X3, a GLC, and a Q5 and say, which is which? And they'd have no idea. They'd be like, they look like all the same car to me, whereas the GV70 looks entirely unique.
Can you have a GLC or a Q5 or an X3 all-wheel drive for $40,000?
Probably.
Brand new?
Probably. Stripped down. You probably don't get the feature content that you do in the GV70, but you could probably find one. That's about
not
that
anymore.
entry
Everything's
price.
$70,000 now.
Right, but MSRP.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the MDX, don't get me wrong. And I do agree the steering was too heavy on the GV70. What I did do is make a custom mode with the light steering and just drive it in that. I don't care for the GV80, but I did really like the GV70. I think it looks outstanding, and I think they actually listened to my feedback. I believe they specifically watched Daily Motor and designed the car this way. Did you guys notice the rotary knob is now a knob then? It's not the little dial that you have to do with your finger?
That was great. I still kept shifting into neutral, though, when I want to change stuff, but that's okay.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing is we had a Ford product right before we had the GV70, and the Ford's got the rotary dial, and you turn it to the left to go into park.
Yeah.
So it's right for drive, left for park. And the Genesis, you have to press the button for park. So I kept stopping the Genesis and turning it into reverse and then going to shut the car off.
I kept being in reverse, and I would go to put the car into drive, and I'd let my foot off the brake, but I was actually spinning the infotainment knob.
Yeah, you're right.
And then I
That
take my
happened a
foot
few
off the
times
brake,
too.
and the car's still like reversing, and I'm like, I'm going to hit
It's
something.
a very confusing infotainment knob / gear selector knob.
Yeah.
It is, but I think if you owned it, you'd get used to it pretty quick. And Acura is not exempt from confusing things too. I know you like the infotainment, but I have heard from commenters who own the cars, like TLXs, that say they still It's the delay that's frustrating with their system. Even though the trackpad is kind of intuitive,
Apple CarPlay is
a
as good
good
with that
delay.
trackpad.
yeah,
However, it is much better than what Lexus did with their
that is true.
touchpads.
So for me, it's going GV70.
For me,
Chris,
it's MDX.
Chris,
Why do you guys keep doing this to me? I liked.
you have to have backbone.
I know. I like that the MDX makes. Oh, I like that the MDX makes. It goes when you change drive modes, which is excellent.
Ching,
Ching,
ching.
Yep.
ching.
And then it makes a Formula One sound when you turn it off.
That's right. I don't know. I think
These are not reasons that anyone would buy
No.
one car over the other.
no, they're not. I really want to go GV70 because I just like that Genesis is so new and fresh, and that GV70 looks like nothing else in the class. And that's such an issue we have with that class of cars. They all just look the same, like you said.
Yeah.
I don't like that the top of the dash was not leather on the GV70, but I think it's because we had. I know. I think that's because we had a lower trim model. I think if you get the 3.5 and like the the Prestige or whatever.
And you'd
You'll
have,
get the leather
you'd have your
dash.
extra little leather to look at.
Yeah. I don't know, it just looks nicer. to
Well
have
said,
leather.
Christopher.
Thank you.
The last one of the first round, 911 Turbo S versus Nissan GTR. And I
Oh.
feel bad doing this, but it had to
I
happen
don't-
at some
no,
point.
We don't feel bad about this.
I had more fun in the GTR because it was on winter tires
In the
and
snow.
could just hoon it everywhere. And then Turbo S, every time I left the driveway, I felt like I was gonna get arrested for speeding.
Yeah.
Ah.
The Turbo S a better car. The GTR was more fun. And I felt like if we handed the keys back to Nissan and it were mangled, they would have been like, it's okay. This one's actually, we didn't tell you, but this one's 10 years old. We just put some updated
we just put the new
graphics
front
on it.
We just put the new front bumper on it. You
Right.
never know.
No, it's gotta
Swapped
be
out the
the-
steering wheel.
It's gonna be the Turbo S for me.
Yeah, same.
That was an amazing car. It really was.
Can you do a 2004 GMC Denali with quadra-steer?
I actually would like to drive that. That's a
I-
very
I-
Doug
I
DeMuro
would-
style vehicle.
I would love to drive one of those.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I remember back when I was a kid, one of my friend's dads bought a Sierra, and it was right when Quadra-steer came out. And I was like, does it
Okay.
have the four-wheel steering? And I was like 9. And he's
Yeah.
like, no, like I don't know. Like he had no idea. What that
I just
was.
learned about that very recently.
Really?
That's
Yeah.
a cool name, Quadra Steer.
Right.
Quadra-steer.
Okay, we have the round of 32 set. So that is the We Remembered Them. So let's head on back to our little presentation. Got a few other slides to bring up. Best interiors. Mercedes-Benz S580, BMW Alpina XB7, VW ID4, and Volvo S90. Now, unfortunately, these were not really chosen by the four. Some of them were, but Chris was too busy to respond to all of my messages on Facebook. So some of these were just decided by me.
Well, I excuse me. I nominated the Volvo S90, even though I don't think it's the best. I nominated that.
You're right. You guys did all help
Yeah.
get images in here, but we ended up going with the S580. And I will say, I actually
Yes.
don't like the interior on this one as much as I liked the previous Gen S class.
Really?
Yeah. This one's a little too busy for me. I liked the simplicity of
Like
just kind
the
of
W222.
if that's what the chassis code is, yes. It looks so nice with its four kind of air vents kind of right in the middle, and the screens were a little more built into the dash. But this one still was pretty amazing inside and so quiet and comfortable.
Everyone in the comments thinks it looks like a strip club.
Yeah.
And I would agree. But I've never
100%.
been to a strip club, so I wouldn't really know.
Well,
Neither have I.
I'll let you know where we're going after this,
All
actually.
right. We are in Ipsy.
Yep.
The S580 was pretty dope.
It was.
Yep.
Still is.
Yep.
Best EV. This one was also a bit of a dictatorship.
This one's rigged completely.
100%
We had no
rigged.
say in this one.
Tesla Model Y, Ford Mustang Mach-E, Polestar 2, and Hyundai Kona EV.
I have a question.
Yes.
That Kona EV does not look like the one that we had. Why is that?
Because it's white.
Well, yeah, but ours had body-colored cladding, and the front fascia looked completely
That was
different.
probably a pre-facelift Kona EV right there, whereas the one we drove was a facelift.
Was ours a 22?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's why.
Yep. I liked all these cars, don't get me wrong, and I liked them all for all their individual reasons. I think the Mach-E is the quietest, most refined. I think the Model Y is the best technology. Polestar 2 pretty close, and I like how unique the Polestar 2 is. I think the Kona is the best value.
Those are the best burnouts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Front-wheel drive burnouts. We made a ton of smoke with that one. All of that being said, I personally ended up going with the Model Y, and that's because of the charging network.
And because you just sold yours for like a $17,000 profit.
We did just sell our Model Y. Yep. We'll get into that more here probably next week or something, because that's the first time the channel knows about that. But yes, we sold the Model Y. I loved having it. And if you're going to own an EV as a car you actually want to use as a car, as a gas replacement, Tesla supercharger network is still huge. I mean, we road tripped the Mach-E when we had it, and it took 3 tries each time we used an Electrify America charger to get it work properly.
Frustrating.
Yeah. And Chris Amos was driving it, and he tried to find a charger using the built-in software, and it was putting him into restricted access businesses behind locked gates, and every different charger is going to have a different maximum speed output, and you have to have different apps for all the different ones.
It was a mess.
Yeah. So love or hate Teslas for all their other reasons. If you just want a car, it does the best electric vehicle,
And you guys were at a pretty big disadvantage, in the Tesla ecosystem because you had such low range with the standard range Model Y, and you still made it work, and you still were able to road trip just about anywhere you wanted to with it.
Yeah, no,
Which says a lot about the charge network.
that is something that pisses me off with Teslas is how they don't actually achieve their EPA range, but that's a bit alleviated by the fact that the supercharger network makes it so easy.
Yeah.
And they just added waypoints into their mapping now. So you could say, like, I remember when you had our Tesla once, you said you needed to go down to Ohio for something.
Yeah, they
and
listened to
come
my
home.
review.
Right, yeah, exactly. So now you could have said, I need to go here and then come back home. How do I do it? And it would have told you.
Thanks, Elon.
But Chris, you picked the Kona, right? Or did you just suggest
No,
that?
I was gonna
say Mach-E?
say Mach-E, and
Okay.
Ford is actually bringing to their Ford Pass app their new way of showing you charging stations.
Yeah, we haven't actually used that
so
yet.
we haven't used it yet. Well, it's
But
not.
is that going to show you the same stations that the car shows you?
I don't know.
Because that's the big issue. And it's not really necessarily Ford's fault. It's just the fault of the EV charger network
Right.
in general in America.
Really, you should be using the Electrify America app
Yeah.
with the Mach-E.
Right.
But even,
Yeah.
it works. It works. People have driven Mach-E's across the country, and it works, but it's not a plug-and-play easy system
Wow.
like you would expect it to be.
Yep. No, I would definitely own a Mach-E or a Kona EV if I could buy one. And I'd really like to own an Ioniq 5. The drive event's going on right now, and we didn't get invited. So one day, if you're watching this right now, we're gonna buy an EV6 instead. Best 600 horsepower car. Last year, this was the best 500 plus horsepower car, but considering Chris and Chris
We've
and
moved
I,
up in the world.
we've moved up. We had enough 600 horsepower cars this year. Kind of amazing that we got to drive all these. Really cool. McLaren GT 911 Turbo S, McLaren 720S, and Mustang Shelby GT 500. I think if it were me, I probably would have picked 720S. I thought that was more of a visceral car.
That thing was an event.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you launched that and drove it, you really felt like you were getting away with murder.
Yeah.
The 911 Turbo S was amazing and pulled your head back, but it was like I could have put my mom in the seat and had her do this.
Yeah.
It's just a Volkswagen Beetle.
It's really just a Beetle.
I like the sense of security in the Turbo S though. Like if you can do all the stuff and feel safe.
No, the Turbo S might win Car of the Year this year, so let's go. I'm going to go with 720S.
Too bad we picked Turbo S.
All right.
we didn't even mention the McLaren GT in this. I know someone that owns a McLaren GT.
What other cars? How many other cars does she own?
I think she owns every car on the screen. I think she owns all 4 of those.
Is it the best
But the
horse-
McLaren GT is meant to be your only car.
Yeah, that's true.
We could just put the best blank
Yeah, did we
cars.
did
up
we
here.
did we try and put golf clubs in the McLaren GT? Did anyone ever try
Oh,
that?
yeah, I did.
Yeah,
You
Chris
did?
Fit.
And they fit. Okay, that's awesome.
They fit great.
Okay. Oh no, we're not doing this one yet. We're going back to the bracket.
Oh, sneak peek.
Yep. Who else is commenting? If you're not traveling, then the Mach-E. But if you charge at home, no, that is a really good point. If it's not your only car, I would totally have no problem you buying a Mach-E, any of those other things. It's just, if you're talking about what's the best electric vehicle, I think the Tesla's better. I think the Mach-E is a better car, not EV. Okay. Next round of the bracket. Do you guys need a bathroom break or anything?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
I'm feeling good.
Everybody's good.
Yeah.
Mazda CX-30 versus Ford F-150, and we found out this does not include the Raptor.
Steel. What?
I think
The CX-30 rides a little bit rough, and it has bad fuel range. And the F-150 has the tremor.
The F-150 made me go viral on TikTok, so I picked the F-150.
I picked the F-150 for the plug-in.
Yeah, the F-150 is more innovative.
Yeah.
It has a ruler to measure things.
Fish.
Yeah.
What are
F-150.
people measuring on the tailgate of their F-150?
I don't know.
Chris?
What are people...
What are
eating?
people measuring
I
on
don't know. Certain things.
the wood?
It's wood.
Okay, Hyundai Ioniq, Mini Cooper S/JCW. I like the spirit of the Coopers. I think the Ioniq's a bit of an unsung hero, and I think it deserves to move on.
I'm sad I haven't driven that. I can't
It's the most efficient EV we've ever tested.
Did we have one of those this year? Why didn't I?
Yeah, we had
Was
an Ioniq full
gone?
electric, I think, or something. Maybe we didn't. Maybe
I
this
think
one
that
shouldn't
was
be in there.
20. I think that was in 2020, because I have no recollection of us having an Ioniq this year.
You're not going to remember, are you?
I'm pretty sure we had an Ioniq this year. It was in the beginning of the year. It was like in the winter. It was good. It's forgettable, but it was good. And I think
Cooper, you can get a convertible though, and I do like convertibles.
And it farts
Yeah.
between gears.
it's true. I don't know. I kind of want to give it to the Ioniq because it's just so good at being efficient and being
Eggplants.
what it needs to be.
Yep.
Whereas the Cooper S could use some improvements.
And use a cost drop,
Yep.
price drop.
Oh, they've always been $40,000.
S90 and V90 versus Jeep Wrangler. For me,
Come on.
I would have liked the V60 to win last year, but we didn't drive a V or S60 this year, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I do really like the Wrangler with its multiple powertrains. That's tough. I think the Wrangler fits its mission.
I was scared driving the Wrangler because of the steering.
I don't know how so many people, like normal people who aren't car enthusiasts, can drive a Wrangler on a daily
Right?
basis. Like it literally feels like a car that's 30 years old, and I know plenty of 30-year-old cars that drive way better than the Wrangler does.
Like the 4Runner. That's not quite 30
Yeah.
years old. But.
No, it's true though. I don't know. The V90, S90 are really nice.
All right, what would
Luxury
you
cars.
rather drive? If you had a road trip tomorrow, any Wrangler, any S90.
I wouldn't drive the
The
Wrangler more
Volvo.
than 30 miles on the highway.
Okay.
No.
What would you rather
Miserable.
own? If for the next 2 years you were required to own, couldn't sell.
I would literally rather drive a CHR.
Both
than
are
a
going to be
Wrangler.
horribly unreliable, so I take the Volvos.
Take the Volvo.
Yeah.
And what was the other question?
This has that Bowers and Wilkins sound system.
Oh, yes.
And what do you think fits its mission better?
The
Jeep
Volvo.
Wrangler.
Okay, yeah, probably the Wrangler, but
I think I'm gonna go Volvo because
Yeah.
the Wrangler. I think kind of what you said earlier. I think a lot of people buy and drive Wranglers that shouldn't be. They just take them to Starbucks. They would be much better served with something that would be different. Whereas I don't
the
think.
Volvo owners have a dog in the back.
Yes, every Volvo V90 owner is no
Globe.
one's duped into buying a V90. they seeked it out. So that's
Yeah.
All
All
right.
right.
Cool. CX-5 versus RAV4.
this one's tough.
I think
Mazda needs to come out with some cooler powertrains, some
Yeah.
more innovative.
They
they
are.
do have a diesel.
They're doing well.
I saw one. It was a development car.
Yep.
And even the test driver from Mazda was like, "Yeah, we have not sold any of these." Cool idea though. Yeah, RAV4.
I 3 years ago, Charlie would hate myself for it, but I think I'll probably have to go RAV4 as well.
CX-5 is really good though. If you want to buy a modern car that will just drive and run forever, you could go with either of these options. It'd be just fine.
Yeah, I'm gonna go CX-5, but that's just.
So we've
I'm
got
being
one
out-
CX-5,
I'm being
one RAV4.
outvoted.
Okay, so you get a turbo with the CX-5.
I just think
The Mazda CX-5 signature with the turbo is a mini Porsche Macan.
It really
Yes.
is. And
Yeah.
it drives so
yes.
every
and the
time.
interior is just
It's tough for me because I enjoy. I'm trying to think if one showed up in my driveway for like a press car week, I'd be happy to drive either of them.
Oh yeah, totally.
But I think if I were to own one, I'd rather own a CX-5.
All right.
I think it would make more of a statement.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah. S580 versus Ford Bronco Sport. This one's actually pretty tough for me. Only
Well-
because I think the Bronco Sport was much better than I expected it to be.
It's got to be the S580 because the Bronco Sport, everyone just thinks it's the full-size Bronco.
Yeah,
And,
Oh.
and they're disappointed. They're like, the Bronco looks weak. Why does it have a 3-cylinder?
That is true.
They really should have named that something completely different, like the Bronco 2 or
But
Yeah.
you know that tricking people into buying the Bronco is like the whole point of that, and it's worked.
It's true.
Wasn't
yeah.
there a police officer that approached you when you were filming
Oh my gosh.
the initial Bronco Sport?
Yeah, I went to
Yeah.
Gene Butman Ford in Ypsilanti, and they gave me a Bronco Sport to test, and I had people following me into parking lots, cops like not quite pulling me over, but like wanting to see the car.
Yeah.
It was, I mean, it's a special car, and now there are literally within eye shot within view.
Yeah.
It's like
There's
Bronco
so
Sports are
many.
like Teslas in California.
Yeah, they really are going everywhere, which I'm okay with. They're
Fine.
neat little cars, and they're better than the Jeep Renegade.
Yeah.
But
S580 is fantastic. It is 4-wheel steer.
yeah, the S580 is really good.
Quadristeer.
It's quadristeer, essentially.
Yeah.
They stole it from GM.
Yeah, right.
Like Ford could have come out with a hybrid Bronco Sport.
I was just gonna say,
stuff.
Yeah. If they had all the Escape powertrains in the Bronco Sport, I think I'd give it to the Bronco Sport. But yeah, they're just
Yeah.
pooping them out, which
I think-
I mean, I don't blame them.
I
really,
think that's coming soon. I said that if you watched my Escape review,
Oh.
plug-in Escape review. I think that I would not be surprised if the Bronco Sport took over and took all of the powertrains from the Escape, and Ford just axed the Escape.
The problem though is the Escape plug-in hybrid is front-wheel drive only, so
Yeah.
they're gonna have to redo some
Mm.
architecture with that.
They could just put an electric motor in the back like Toyota does. I don't know why
guess
they don't
so.
do that.
Yeah.
All right, Alpina XB7 versus RCF. It's XB7 for me.
Yeah, same.
RCF's a good car.
Well, I'm already like.
Yeah, you can still
Outnumbered.
pitch your.
So I'm
you know,
gonna-
you can
I'm
still
gonna-
convince one of us.
Yeah, you
I'm
could.
gonna pick the RCF because it's just a great naturally aspirated V8, and it won't be made for much longer. But the XB7 is special. I don't know. I'm gonna say RCF just because, no more SUVs.
I will point out that anyone who goes out and buys an RCF is probably like very set in what they want to get. Like they're like,
Yeah.
I want this car, very specific. Whereas I could see an XB7 buyer just being like, I just want the new cool thing. I saw this.
Well, why wouldn't they
I'm
just
gonna go
have
get this. Oh,
that-
look at it on the showroom. I'm gonna lease it.
Oh, can you
Yeah,
lease an
RCF
Alpina?
buyer also
Probably.
could be like 87 years old.
I'd like to see the 87-year-old RCF driver.
Yeah. Yeah. I vote RCF.
Yeah, I'll go RCF. Oh, but
Gosh,
then the
that was the
infotainment
most
sucks.
unconvincing
The
argument ever.
infotainment is so bad.
But it
It's
has
so
Apple CarPlay now, and that's all you really need.
Now it has Apple CarPlay like 5 years after every other car.
Let's see if anyone.
I was really impressed with the Alpina B7.
Mhm.
I felt like that was next level stuff, and I haven't. It's not quite fair because I haven't really compared the XB7 to the X7, and I'm not really sure how much better the XB7 is over the X7, whereas the B7 is so much better than the 7 Series.
Fair enough. All right, I think it goes RCF. It'll probably just get knocked out next round by the Mercedes.
I was gonna say
anyway.
whatever goes up against the S580
Yeah.
out of both those cars is gonna get knocked out.
I will also say, Lucy brings up a good point. We are super, super close to 20,000 subscribers. Thank you all so much, week in and week out, for watching Daily Motor. And there's 36 people live right now watching.
It's great.
We really love seeing you all. We are only 27 subscribers away from breaking 20,000 in the
Oh,
stream. It
it's
would be
so
so
close.
cool to break 20,000 during the stream. So anyone, if you've got friends in the room,
Burner YouTube accounts.
parents, yeah, if you have, think about it. Do you have a school YouTube account? Do you have a work email? Do you have an old email address that you haven't used in a long time? Hop on, subscribe to Daily Motor. I rarely ever ask for subscribes. We never like end our videos. Make sure you hit like and subscribe. We're not about that. But
The only times I do ask for subscribers is when I'm filling up with premium fuel during a fuel test. That is the one time. Whenever I have to put premium gas into something stupid like
hurts.
a TRX,
Yeah.
I tell people to like and
Oh
subscribe.
no, that was the
But
worst.
right now, like and subscribe. Let's get that number up. We are at set. Oh, now we're only 25 away. So thank you all,
there you
two
go,
first
we
two
came
people who
to.
listened.
Heck
Okay,
yeah.
back to it. Hyundai Kona Electric versus BMW X5. I like the Kona Electric for all the reasons I just pointed out, but the X5 I think is
Buy it
better.
in most states.
Yeah.
Yeah.
fuck?
What the heck?
I'd have the X5.
I'll have the X5, please. Plus, you can get it in electric. Plus, we towed with it. Picked up the Grom.
Totally.
BMW M5 comp versus Ram TRX. I think M5's a great
M5.
car. I'd pick the TRX. I just giggled so much with the TRX, and we all made good memories. We all saw God in the TRX.
Oh,
My God.
we had quite the day in the TRX.
We
did.
almost jumped into the heavens.
yes.
Yeah, we did.
We what goes up doesn't always come down.
Oh, we definitely came down
Came down.
hard on that front left wheel. I don't know. It's kind of M5 comp for me. That M5, well, all right.
We destroyed the
was-
tires after like
If we
one
had an
donut.
M5 CS, maybe that would take the cake. The M5 comp was good. It was still a little bit numb. The Ram TRX was also numb, but it was a truck. So, okay, Ram TRX.
I wish the TRX would have farted more between shifts.
Substitute Topher versus Shift Farts.
Best shift farts will be the next one of the categories next year.
That if we would have had that this year, it would have been the F-Pace SVR.
It did have
Not only the best
aggressive
exhaust note, but
sharks
also
almost.
by far the best shift farts.
It did sound
like,
really good.
Yeah.
All right, Tesla Model Y versus Mustang Mach-E. Now this is different from Best EV, I should say, because Best
Why?
EV means you're picking the best specifically electric vehicle. It's like I said to you, like what's the best two-seater car? Like, a TRX wouldn't do very well in this, but this we're talking about just what's the best car overall, and the things that we talked about earlier. Best to own, best to drive.
Yeah.
Does it fit its mission? I will point out the Mach-E you can go down to a dealer and buy, kind of, more so than the Tesla.
Yeah, but the Tesla you can get at MSRP, but you will have to
Oh,
wait
that's
6
true.
months.
Oh, it's for some of them, not for
some of them.
performance.
The Mach-E has rear-wheel drive variants. It has all-wheel drive variants. It has performance variants. There's something to be said about that.
Some Mach-E's I like the looks of. I like the colors better on the Mach-E.
There's a dealer network with
Yes.
support
Yep.
and parts.
Mm-hmm. I do think the infotainment sucks in the Mach-E.
It's better in the performance. It's faster.
Really? It just made the whole car faster. It's just everything is fast.
Did you learn that from watching my review?
I did.
Okay.
And many others because I wanted to get one for a little bit.
I'd have the Mach-E personally.
Yeah, me too.
I'd pick the Mach-E only because my mother drove both, and she said she'd rather have the Mach-E. So
The
it must be a
Mach-E
better
is
car.
one of
Respect
the
your mother.
nicest Ford
Yeah.
interiors.
It is the
Ever made.
It's the nicest
Yeah.
Ford interior.
Yeah.
F-150s get pretty nice too, but
Model Y just
I'm okay
rattles
with
a
going for a Mach-E.
The Mach-E doesn't creak like the F-150 though.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Ford Bronco versus Hyundai Sonata. I don't like the Bronco, but I'd still give it the win over the Sonata. Sonata's just a little too bland compared to a Bronco.
Bronco puts a smile on your face.
Yeah, Bronco.
Chevrolet Corvette versus Honda Civic. Now this one is tough.
This is tough.
I think I'd have to go Honda Civic for how good you say the SI is.
The SI is really good.
And you love the current gen Type R, and you know it's only, but we can't include that now because
The only mark, I have to be realistic here with the Corvette. The only mark against the Corvette right now is you can't get one under 100 grand.
right,
And the Civic,
you can get under 100 grand.
you can get under 100 grand. Like, there are some silly markups on the Civic Si, but the other day I went down to my local dealer and they were like, what's your markup on Civic Si? Like 3 to 5 grand.
Really?
So that's not terrible. And that'll probably go away as it,
First round.
first round is over. The new Civic in any of its forms, even from base 2-liter sport, they're all fantastic. They're all so good.
Zeke said the SI is good but not great. Let us know why you say that. I've heard some really good things about it. Although, admittedly, I haven't watched many reviews. I pretty much just let Chris tell me how good it is and left it at that.
I mean, the new Corvette is good but not great because it's still the base model, and I feel like
That motor just doesn't fit the car.
yeah,
really
it's
doesn't.
a little bit. I mean, it'll probably be really reliable because it only revs like 5,000 RPM under stress, overbuilt. But yeah, Civic.
Chris Brower, do you have any strong feeling either way?
I mean, the new Civic's great.
Both have gotten so many views.
Yeah, you're right.
They've like bankrolled all of our channels.
I've also watched in depth the Topher's Civic SI review, and it looks really, really cool. And he was pushing it to the limit on the canyon roads.
Push it to the limit.
I would never have the balls to do that, but it looked really fun. So
I think it's going to be Civic. And I'm more okay with that considering Corvette was a Final 2 like championship contender last year.
Yeah.
But I think this one's going to the Civic way. I've liked everything about the new Civic. Bose Audio. Bose Audio sounds really good. They both have Bose Audio. Yeah. McLaren 720S versus RS e-tron GT. Whew. I did really like the RS e-tron GT, and I think going back to kind of our core values here, I think it would be a satisfying car to own. I think you'd
But
always
it's
like driving.
$150,000,
Really
$160,000.
expensive, and it's super inefficient too. It's probably just down to the tires because they're sticky.
Yeah.
But I mean, like super inefficient.
I could not believe the price tag on that thing. Both of these cars have fantastic steering. And the 720S, it's like one of the last raw, visceral cars you can buy.
Yeah,
Even the 911 Turbo feels so refined compared to the 720.
agreed. Chris,
I'm 720.
I'm 720.
yeah, I'm gonna go 720.
All right, sorry Audi.
Audi does do nice drifts, though.
They do. Yeah.
That was the most insane drift I've ever seen watching you drift that RS e-tron.
Yeah, but the 720S does better drifts.
He could have drifted the RS or the 720 that well. You just didn't see it. You know.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
We took it out on track.
Yeah.
I was trying to manage tires.
There you go. Exactly. Porsche 718 cars, so Cayman and Boxster versus the Miata. For me, it's going to have to go. Well, you guys didn't get to drive a Boxster this year, but you did drive the Cayman GTS 4-liter.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's say that. I'm
Yeah.
going to say Porsche 718.
I'm going to say 718
Yeah.
too. I love the Miata, but the Miata just needs a little something, a little razzle dazzle at this point.
We have the
Yeah.
old version of that car.
Yeah,
over here.
and they're getting expensive. Miatas are getting really expensive.
They're 35 to 40 grand now, and I don't know, it's a lot.
The only problem with the 718s is you got to spend 90 grand to get the 4-liter.
Yeah, but it's maybe one of the best cars you can get for 90 grand.
You're right. Nissan Frontier versus Subaru BRZ. I liked the Frontier, but I didn't get the I gotta have it feeling from it.
Sure.
BRZ, I was more like, I know I don't need to buy one of these, but let's just consider if I did.
I've been searching Auto Trader a lot for BRZs lately. Don't think I'm going to get one because I want something completely different, but the temptation is so real.
Chris?
I spent less time in the Subaru BRZ. Actually, I spent very minimal time in both of these cars, but I think that I would go BRZ because it fits its mission, and it's such a small market right now. What else is there? There's the Miata, BRZ,
GR86, Grade 86.
86.
Nissan, if you're watching, just kidding. Frontier is the best truck.
I almost wore my
It does
Almost
do
drove your
drifts.
Nissan.
I almost wore my Nissan beanie. I should have done.
It's Kia Carnival versus Genesis G70. This one's a little tough. I like both. I wasn't in love with either of them.
The only thing I like about the G70 is they don't offer the silly, terrible 6-speed manual anymore. They got rid of that.
Yeah.
And
One was really bad.
you can get a very good sports sedan. Maybe one of the best sports sedans being made right now. I would get a G70 over 3 Series.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel that. I think the Carnival could have been even better.
Yeah, the seats were weird.
Seats were weird. Yeah, the stupid in the top trim with the cool second row seats. You couldn't get into the third row.
You couldn't access the third row.
Yeah.
Yeah, what was that about? We thought we were daft trying to do that.
We
Right.
were not daft.
I also appreciate cars that come by themselves honestly, and the Kia Carnival's trying to be an SUV.
Yeah, they don't even
Oh my-
want to call it a minivan.
Exactly.
No.
Yeah.
You know what? I had the Kia Carnival parked at my house for 2 days, and my neighbor texted me. He's like, "What is that SUV in your driveway? I've never seen that before." And I'm like, "Well, it's called the Kia Carnival, and it's actually a minivan." And he's like, "What? There's no way. That thing looks just like an SUV."
Were you in a
And
Kia ad?
yeah, for
Did you
real.
wake up in a different dimension?
Yeah.
There you go. G70. Genesis GV70 versus Porsche 911 Turbo S.
Something on the G70 real quick. I never really understood why it got all the rewards that it has until I drove the top spec that we had. So good.
The only thing I will say is that motor's a little bland.
It is a little bit boring.
Yeah,
The
but that's
3.3?
fine.
Yeah.
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 Compared to
All
like
V6s are.
yeah, but then make an inline 6.
Right. Oh yeah. No. Oh my God. Could you imagine the G70
Oh, it'd be
with
the
inline
perfect-
6?
It'd be amazing.
I'd have to have one.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. We also got to go G70 because Chris's girlfriend wants a G70. Although is she on GV70
She
now?
may be on GV70 now. Once she sat in that car and rode around in that, she was just like
That's understandable.
totally hooked.
Pittsburgh man picked the Kia Carnival for the last one, but he picks 911 for this one. What do you guys think?
Oh, 911, absolutely. Best car ever made.
Yes.
The GV70 is not as good as the G70, and people should buy more sedans.
Okay.
The GV70 is just pandering to the market of people who want crossovers.
Hopefully Emily's
And
not
It's
watching.
doing it well. I think she is. It made it this far, and the way that Charlie made the bracket, it's up against a 911 Turbo. So
Okay, we are set for the
We love
them
them
category. Cool. This would be the round of the Sweet 16. Sweet 16 is set.
all right.
We're going to go do a few more of the other awards and then probably take a quick break for the bathroom. Zeke said, "Amen. Need more sedans." And Lucy's got to go. Thanks for tuning in, Lucy.
Bye,
We appreciate
Lucy.
you all the time. Let's go. As we saw earlier, best 500 horsepower truck or SUV. Contenders were Ram TRX, Dodge Durango Hellcat, Mercedes G63, and Alpina XB7. Cars we've talked about a lot throughout the night.
That Durango Hellcat was so ridiculous.
I drove it on track too, and it was
Did?
like, yeah.
Oh, at
Mama, and I actually didn't drive the one at Mama, but
you
they
didn't.
had.
We
I,
rode in it at Mama.
I went to the launch of that car in
did?
North Carolina and
Okay.
drove it on track.
Okay.
Is
Cool.
capable. Definitely was. Sam Bahati says XB7. Shout out Sam, member.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
That would be my choice, but I
Chris,
don't know what ended up.
do you agree that it is the Ram TRX?
I do, actually. There's so much you could do with that truck.
Yeah.
Even though I'd rather just go buy a $20,000 side-by-side, that thing is just insane. It's so good.
I do feel bad that a lot of people are going to buy Ram TRXs and then just drive them to Starbucks and to work and everything.
That's okay. I can enjoy it later when gas prices are $8 and
Yeah.
Ram TRXs are.
I saw one at Starbucks today.
$30,000.
Oh,
Did you
actually,
really?
I did. It was a black one. It had red wheels.
Ooh. Yeah, those are all great cars, don't get me wrong, but when we're talking for just a performance, just stupid machine, I'd have to go with one of the two Stellantis products. And
All 4 of them are fantastic
they're all
vehicles.
excellent.
Just calculate 8 miles to the gallon with premium fuel into your budget when you buy one.
there you go. Biggest surprise. This one's a fun category. So these are cars that we drove and just surprised us in one way or another. Last year was the Nissan Sentra, a car Chris and I both thought would be a snooze fest and was actually quite good. This year, candidates are Ford Maverick, and I will say Ford Maverick's not in the bracket because we haven't all driven it. We haven't actually had it for a loan.
I haven't driven the Maverick.
Right,
but
right.
you said good things about it.
Yeah, but we did at least 2 of us drove it.
I drove it for like 2 minutes.
Oh, right,
I,
you had to
I,
turn
I have-
around.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
right at the end of the day at one of the events. And
Yep.
it was literally like 2 minutes.
So that's why the Maverick's not eligible for Car of the Year. But the RS e-tron GT, the Jeep Wrangler 392, and the Kona EV. All surprises in their own way. Maverick was better than we expected and surprisingly cheap. I think even without driving it, you can acknowledge it's a surprise that Ford even came out with it and priced it so competitively and has a hybrid as its base motor. It's like 40 miles to the gallon mix.
Yeah, you just can't get them.
City or something. Yeah,
You can't get them.
Yeah, especially not the hybrids. Yeah. You can get 2 liters.
Yeah.
I will say the Audi RS e-tron GT, I was surprised on the price. The Jeep Wrangler 392 drove exactly how I thought it would drive. I was just surprised at how loud it was and how
Yeah.
good it sounded.
That thing was so cool.
Hyundai Kona EV, I was surprised by its front-wheel drive burnouts.
Yes.
And the Ford Maverick, I was surprised that you liked it.
There you go. The winner is the
Ah,
Jeep Wrangler
yes.
392. All three of us got to drive that car together, and the sound that it made.
That's right. We have a
just
video.
So
Yeah.
nutso.
My face still hurts from smiling.
Yeah.
I'm smiling right now just looking at it.
Mhm.
It's
It was-
hilarious.
There are very few cars I would contemplate getting that poor of gas mileage in, and that's one of them.
Yeah.
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 You have to sacrifice good ride, wind noise, road noise, ride, everything, gas prices, but yeah,
Decency.
I just everything, but I would probably put it all into the wind.
I would get over the
that car.
perilous steering to
Yep.
drive one of those.
Yep.
They're just, it's so ridiculous.
It
and
is great peril.
It is. And
Very
we
perilous.
found out also when the Topher was driving in low range, it's absolutely outrageous when you're going off road.
So good.
Go to a parking structure, throw your Jeep 392 in for low,
Yeah.
and just drive around and set all the car alarms off.
And you can take the top down too.
It's an
which is
American pastime right there.
Last one, the most desirable car. So this gets out of a little bit. Oh no,
That's a good looking McLaren
I was
GT
just
right
gonna
there.
say that McLaren GT.
Yeah.
Is,
That's the same color that we had, isn't it?
It is.
yeah, pretty much.
actually.
is. Alpina XP7 is also looking pretty slim.
Yeah.
SUVs are taking over.
There you go. They're sneaking in everywhere. But the text is right. Mercedes-Benz S580, Porsche 911 Turbo S, BMW Alpina XB7, not the
M8.
M8
The
that's
mate.
down there.
M8 is maybe one of the least desirable cars.
It is kind of desirable. It's kind of pretty, but it sucks to drive.
So fast.
And
so
the McLaren GT. This is an opportunity for us to kind of point out, even if this car doesn't win Best Car of the Year, it's kind of just what we would park in our driveway out of everything we drove.
Yeah.
And maybe sell a kidney to get ourselves into. For me, that answer was unnamed, but Mercedes. You can tell this is the last slide. Mercedes S-Class in general.
Such a good car.
The S-Class was really impressive. Like, you look at it and you look at the interior and you look at the tech, but just the way it drove, the quietest car I've driven, I think.
Yeah.
And
Can't even hear
I
it
haven't driven a
start.
Rolls Royce or Bentley or anything like that recently, but
Mhm.
amazing driving experience.
Amazing driving experience. It looks fine. It's not my favorite looking car, but the interior is awesome. All the functionality is great. It just I was on Auto Trader looking up late model last gen plug-in hybrid S classes while we had it because I was like, it's like 40 or 50 grand. I could sell the Tesla and get one of these.
Yeah. And I think
You're
the
halfway there.
911 to get is the GT3.
What's that?
I think the 911 to get is the GT3.
Right, and we haven't driven it, so
Yeah.
unfortunately it's not eligible this year.
Yep.
Yep. And Chris, you loved the S class as well.
I loved the S580. It was just like one of those cars where after I was done driving it for 3 days, I was like, I never want to drive anything else. I want to walk out to this car every day, have my hard material heated steering wheel, have my heated cooled seats massaging,
Yep.
stunning ambient lighting, like just
His whole package.
yeah.
McLaren GT was really cool also. But I don't know, for 200 grand, I'd rather kind of have the Turbo S.
Yeah.
So
I agree. Neat. Well, we're going to take a quick pause. I have to use the facilities so everyone can stretch their legs, grab a little bite to eat, because we will be coming into our Sweet 16, the bracket here. We are staged to come into our best car of the year. We'll get that decided here in the next probably 15, 20 minutes. But quick break. Also, quick shout out to subscribe. YouTube must have killed some bots or something like that because we fell down to 71.
No.
So we are 29 subscribers away. We got up to 79 and then dropped down to 71. So everyone, tell your friends, tell your loved ones, subscribe to Daily Motor. Let's break 20,000. I'm not letting Chris and Chris out of this room until we break 20,000
God.
subscribers. They don't know that the doors are locked, and they're being held hostage until Daily Motor reaches 20,000 subscribers. So quick break, quick pause, and we will be back.
Are we staying?
Yeah, we're staying live. You guys can stay.
Okay.
If you want.
So, Chris, let's
Chris.
answer a question that's been
Right.
an age-old question on the channel. Are you my brother or son?
I'm your Neff son.
My what son?
Neff son.
Neff son.
Nephew son.
Oh, nephew son. No,
Yeah.
we're not related. We just both grew up in Ypsilanti, Michigan,
Yeah.
and went by the nickname Topher
Yeah.
for most of our lives.
We were born 9 years apart, but we have the same name and the same nickname.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. That's right.
Wait, which button plays the Daily Motor?
This one.
What car was that at the end? I think that was it a Lotus? That might have been a Lotus.
Maybe. It sounds like a Honda, kind of. I was going to go,
Oh, that could have been an S2000.
yeah.
'Cause that
Hey,
was
everybody.
The Gingerman track day.
It's
everyone.
Charlie.
Hey, everybody. It's Charlie from Daily Motor.
Hey, everybody. It's Charlie from Daily Motor.
No, it's more like rounded. Hey, everybody. It's Charlie from Daily Motor.
That's really good.
Hey, everybody. So what do you think is going to win?
S580.
I don't know. What we
Don't
would-
break anything.
What we would buy. This is going to be... it's funny because...
What you gotta do is you gotta play on.
I had to signify that you came, that you walked back in.
I've got music following me. What else do we have here? We've got an applause. A bit of some crickets. This is when the Honda Civic ends up winning car of the year. Crickets.
Let's get on with it. The people want to know.
Do they?
Yep.
All right, Chris. Where are those other beers?
Oh, they're right there.
Where are these? Telfer has a baby at home. He's ready to get back and
Baby.
tell his family what car is
This
best
is-
of the year.
27 minutes past my bedtime.
Oh,
Okay.
Even though he is sleeping like 10 hours a night.
That's good.
That's great.
It's good parenting. The Sweet 16. Let's get it going. I should turn this mic back down. F-150 versus Hyundai Ioniq. For me, that's the F-150. Actually, not a huge fan of the F-150, but it is a pretty good vehicle.
It's pretty good. Yep.
Volvo S90 versus Mazda CX-5.
Volvo.
Volvo S90 and V90.
Volvo.
As much as I like the Volvos, and I'd love to own one, I think they do fit their mission well. I think the CX-5 fits. The fact that compact crossovers are taking over the market, if they're taken over by CX-5s, I'm okay with that.
People who buy CX-5s are going to love them.
Yeah.
So this is the loved them category.
That's true.
Mercedes S-Class versus Lexus RCF. I
Just do it.
you can get a V8 in both, which is why I'm okay with the Mercedes winning.
Okay.
BMW X5 versus Ram TRX. I think I'd go X5 for this.
Yeah, I'm gonna go X5.
Yeah, the TRX is just too impractical.
Can't get a plug-in hybrid TRX until then.
Oh God.
Mustang Mach-E versus Ford Bronco. Both Fords?
I'm gonna go Mach-E just because the interior is so nice.
I'm going to go Mach-E too. I don't like the Bronco.
I'm going to go Bronco because it's just hilarious and fun.
It is. Yeah.
It's kind of the perfect Michigan vehicle. You can take the top off.
Chris
And
likes to be able to take
You can't
the
hear
top
all the
off.
rattles with the top off.
There you go. I think the Mach-E is a bigger leap. I think the Bronco was a very easy car for Ford to do. They just had to like color by numbers.
They could have done better, you're right.
And they're like, I mean, it's like it's the fact that Chevy missed the mark so hard on the Blazer is that much more of a facepalm because it's like make a nostalgic car, make it badass. That's all you had to do for the Bronco.
Yep.
Whereas the Mach-E, they actually had to try.
But the Bronco's better because it's worse. If it were,
It is worse.
if it were better, then it would have been worse.
Zeke says Mach-E, so
Yeah,
no,
it's
I think
probably
that's-
Mach-E. No, it's actually the Mach-E is great because it's actually the kind of the first electric car that's really made people think this or Tesla.
100%.
So
I think if the Bronco had a hypo version out right now, we might be saying something different.
totally.
The other thing is Ford actually hasn't given us a fresh car Bronco yet.
Yeah, I know. We need to get a
so-
few of those. I
yeah.
know they have like 50.
Yeah.
We need a stick shift one because
There you
I have not yet driven the manual.
Yeah, we should drive a manual 4-door. The manual 2-door was just fast enough. I feel like the 4-door is going to be kind of slow.
Okay. Honda Civic versus McLaren 720S. I love the 720. I would have put it in a different category for what like one of most desirable or something like that, but I think Honda Civic is probably the more comprehensive, better car.
How many Honda Civics can you get for McLaren 720S?
Probably
10, actually. Yeah, because it's
10.
$300,000. All right.
Yep. 720S was amazing. It really
Oh, it
was.
was phenomenal. It's
Yeah.
absolutely incredible.
It's one of those cars that will never leave my memory.
Yeah. No, I mean, we
Neither
drove
will
the
the 1010
GT,
Civic or
and the
1110.
McLaren GT was a great daily driver, comfortable McLaren. But
Mhm.
the 720S did just about everything the GT did minus cargo capacity, and it just thrilled in ways that you couldn't imagine.
Also, standing by at the racetrack while you guys were driving that thing around and just hearing the downshifts ricochet off of all the buildings, it sounded like gunshots. It was absolutely insane.
But this is the loved category. Should we?
I don't think I loved the Civic. I think if I had driven the SI, maybe it'd be different.
You know, the new Civic, the Civic is now the Volkswagen Golf, but slightly better because it's reliable and stuff. But
Does the Civic have the driving satisfaction that the last gen Golf did, the 7th gen Golf?
yeah, I think the new SI is very satisfying to drive.
But what about the base Civic? Because remember the base Golf, like even just a normal Golf non-GTI was like a kind of good car, like you enjoyed driving it.
Yeah, I think the base Civic is still really good. I mean, it's not fair putting the Civic against a McLaren 720S.
What do you all think in the chat, guys? 720S or Civic?
Also, 720S has been out for a little while. I think we got to give it to the Civic just because people aren't going to go buy 720Ss over Honda Civics.
Chris Brower, what do you think?
Someone in the chat said Civic.
That is true.
It is really good.
I was getting convinced toward 720S, but
Now,
what do you think?
Well,
Best to own, fits its value best to drive.
I mean, I mean, I would have the McLaren, obviously, but I don't know. I didn't spend as much time with the 720S as you guys did, so
True.
it's really hard to call for me. And I've also, as far as the Civic goes, I've only driven the CVT. I haven't driven a
Sorry,
manual.
I haven't either.
the manual Sport was good for what it was. It was a big improvement. The thing about the Civic is that it is a quantum leap ahead of the previous generation. The 10th gen Civics, I think, were pretty rough.
I'm okay giving it to the Civics.
All right.
Chris speaks pretty darn highly over all the models, and I think
Yeah.
usually you always have something you can complain about a car, and I haven't heard you say anything about the Civics.
Tire noise is a little bit loud, but that's mostly a tire thing.
There you go.
Did they put Goodyears on that car?
They do.
Bad years, actually.
Yeah.
Porsche 718s versus the Subaru BRZ.
The BRZ sounds horrible now.
Yeah.
It sounds bad, and the 718 sounds fantastic.
I think the 718 would continue to satisfy you longer into your ownership period than the BRZ would.
Yep.
I think
I
the-
go 718.
Yeah,
B-
718.
BRZ would only be a satisfying car to have for a long time as your daily, which is what you did. But I think as soon as you introduce a daily driver, the BRZ is just like meh.
I mean, the new BRZ is fantastic. It fills in all the voids that it lacked previously. But I just don't understand why Toyota and Subaru made this stupid sounding engine sound, and you can't turn it off. It's the reason you pipe fake engine sound into a car is because it's not loud enough because it has too much sound deadening and you can't hear it. Well, the BRZ doesn't have any sound deadening. It has like the thinnest aluminum body panels ever.
Yeah.
And you can hear the engine just fine. Why make this fake, terrible sound that sounds digital and artificial? And why not make it, be able to, why can't you turn it off? So it's very frustrating. The BRZ is a fantastic car. That's an easy fix, but the 718 is just a sports car in the most pure form, even though it doesn't have a handbrake.
Agreed. All right. And someone just pointed out, Pittsburgh Man, that both Porsches could go up against each other here, but G70 versus 911 Turbo S. Before we just send the Turbo S right through, we do have to consider, again, satisfying to drive, fits its mission, satisfying to own.
We didn't like the transmission tuning on the Turbo S
You didn't.
as much.
I did. I guess I did point out that you had to really. It didn't hold gears long enough. But I did remember in my review going to complain about that, and then it totally acted perfectly.
Oh.
And then I was like, oh, well, so much for.
I think I was happier when I drove the G70.
You were happier. You were more satisfied with life.
Yeah, I think that the 911 Turbo S is great, but it's a very big, like it feels very big when you're driving it, and it's very expensive, and
It's also too fast to enjoy.
it's
on the street.
so fast.
That is true. I think if this were a GT3, it just would have won. We wouldn't have done this award show.
Yeah, right.
But and I do think the Turbo S was really amazing. It's probably one of the most amazing cars we drove.
It's the only 911 I've ever driven.
It's too bad we can't drive it in Germany.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would pick the Turbo S over the G70 just because I don't love the G70, but I am willing to cede if you two go G70.
I don't know. Turbo S is a better car.
Yeah. I just yeah, I guess. I mean, I've loved every Genesis this year.
If you guys woke up and there were a G70 in your driveway, I mean, would for day after day after day.
If I was going out to like the store or something, or just like daily like leaving my house, I would drive the G70.
One thing I'm not too clear about is if other variants of the G70 are as good as the one that we drove.
Oh, true.
Whereas
Ooh.
every 911 variant is fantastic.
All right, 911
That's
it
true.
is. Even though Zeke did say, hates to say
Prefer
it,
a
but he preferred
G70.
G70.
Yeah.
Okay, our Elite 8, which I do think is worth some pomp and circumstance, as it is all amazing cars. The Ford F-150, Mazda CX-5, Mercedes S580, BMW X5, Mustang Mach-E, Honda Civic, Porsche 718 Boxster and Cayman, and the Porsche 911 Turbo S.
Gosh, so many good cars.
They're all fantastic.
That's why we do this. We get the best of the best. So congratulations to all the Elite 8 winners, but we must push on, starting in the top left. Quick shout out before we actually go. What do you guys think is going to win? If you had to make a call right now for those of you watching, which one's going to be up in this championship spot? Last year it was the Lexus LC 500, something we did not see coming. We kind of thought it would be Corvette or a few other cars if we had to pick it, but LC ended up winning. What do you guys think? Let us know in the chat. Ford F-150 versus Mazda CX-5. For me, it's CX-5.
I don't know. It's been out for so long, though.
I was just gonna say the CX-5 is kind of
But
due for a.
what's wrong with that? It still gets decent fuel economy. It has good power. It has Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. It's got a functional interior. It still looks brand new.
The panels don't creak when you push on them.
The F-150 always feels chunky to me.
It has a place. It has a table to
Oh,
eat
you know
your
what?
burger.
You know what, Chris?
And a ruler.
Hold on.
For measuring your ego.
Your wood.
That shifter in the F-150 is terrible.
It's the most
It's so
over-engineered
bad.
piece of shit because they could have just done a dial
It's
somewhere.
so bad.
Ford has dial shifters.
Not only is it bad, it's loud. It doesn't feel. Yeah. No, I'm gonna. You know what? Now that I've just remembered that the F-150 has that shifter, I don't know how it's made it this far actually because of the shifter. But I'm gonna go CX-5.
That's fine.
Mazda CX-5. I think it made it into the Elite 8 last year, but got beat by the CX-30. So,
Oh wow.
yeah.
CX-30 got knocked off.
The
pretty,
oldest car here.
Yeah.
S580 versus BMW X5. This one's probably the most difficult for me so far because I really liked that X5. And
The X5 might be the best SUV for sale.
it's really good. And the crazy thing
Yeah.
is you can drive it like a car. You can
Yeah.
wring its neck.
Well, you can see where BMW's putting all their money.
I know. Yeah, I think I said that to you probably. It's like
Did you?
they're putting their
Oh.
money into their SUVs and it really shows. I think it looks really good.
It does look fabulous.
Also, I think and maybe this is me being a bit biased because I'm in the new car scene, but I think it's a bit classless in a way. Like, it doesn't scream ostentatious the way like a Mercedes GLE would.
But is that its purpose?
I think for some people, yeah. I mean, I think you can own an X5 like your buddy owns an X5 and like
Yeah.
it works for him. It's used obviously,
He
but
loves
like
his X5.
yeah,
It's
I
like
think X5 owners
9
like
years
their
old, but
X5s.
Yeah.
I'd
But-
buy an X5.
The S580 was also probably the best just driving experience I had from like a comfort and refinement
Yeah.
standpoint. But I hate to say it, the sedan part probably kills it for me.
I like sedans.
And the trunk was tiny. You couldn't even fit a set of golf clubs in there.
In the S580?
Yeah.
What are all of the golfists going to do that buy one?
I put golf clubs in 2 vehicles this year. S580 and McLaren GT. And guess which one fit clubs?
The C8 fit club, obviously. But
Wow,
no,
the GT.
we know the McLaren GT did.
Yeah.
I'm going to say X5. Range of powertrains, driving dynamics, ownership experience.
I really, really liked that 45E.
Did we have any performance X5s this year? I mean,
No.
the X... They
The
drive great.
X5M is basically the M5.
Yeah.
Just lifted.
Yeah. You cool with this, Chris?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
All that praise for the S580. The X5 to win.
I mean, hey, that's how it goes.
Yeah.
Mustang Mach-E, Honda Civic. I think I'd pick the Mach-E.
It does have a volume knob, the Mach-E.
Wait,
the
so
only
So does the
knob.
Honda Civic.
I know it does, but I'm just
You're just
I'm
pointing
just
out.
pointing out that the
Yeah.
Mach-E does have a
I don't
volume
know.
knob.
The Mach-E is also called a Mustang. and
Ooh, you're
people
right. I do hate that.
And the Honda Civic,
Is it?
It's honest.
just so
it's an
good.
honest car.
the Honda Civic almost, I don't know.
A lot of people don't
deserves
like
to
the
win
looks
this
of the
whole
Honda
thing.
Civic.
I know, but it's so much more conservative now.
That's what they don't like about it.
Yeah, the Civic was always a fun, youthful, jovial car, and now it's just it's got a 401k.
Honda Civic gets more YouTube views.
Yeah.
I actually don't love the way the Mach-E drives. And I think from what you've said about the Civic Si, I think I would like to drive. I think I'd get bored of owning a Mach-E.
Yeah.
And I don't think I'd get bored as quickly with a Civic.
There are some improvements that Ford can make to the Mach-E that I'm sure they will over time, but the Civic is just a quantum leap in improvement over the previous generation, and I think that's why it should.
Another thing I don't respect about the Ford is they had to get range by just shoving battery into it. The size of
so
the Mach-E's battery is so much larger than all its competitors, and that's why it has a comparable range.
It weighs 5,000 pounds.
Yeah, it's a boat. It's an
Yeah.
absolute boat. So
The Mach-E weighs as much as the Audi RS6 and the Audi e-tron.
Chris?
Yeah. No, yeah, Honda Civic clearly. But
Okay.
Right Lane Hog, Charlie, did you already give award for commenter of the year?
Whew, I don't know, man. Right Lane Hog, you know that would be you for commenter of the year, but you're never really in our live stream, so you wouldn't win live stream commenter of the year, but absolutely commenter of the year. I've actually got a little Easter egg for you in Friday. What is today? Today's Tuesday. Thursday's video. So keep an eye out for that. Thursday or Friday. Actually, I think Chris's video is going up Thursday. So
We need a bracket
one?
for comment.
Friday's video.
Oh, my GV70.
Your GV70 review is going up Thursday. But yes, Right Lane Hog. Glad to have you in the chat. And yeah, a little Easter egg for you on Friday's video. Just made that today. Okay. Zeke said Civic has held up against others, but no, not against the Mach-E. Sorry, Civic, you're no competition. I will admit I'm not super comfortable with voting for the Civic without having driven the SI, but I trust Chris's judgment enough that because Chris is very picky when it comes to sports cars.
I did not like the previous Gen SI, and I was
Right.
fully ready to go in not liking the newer one.
Right.
But it was
Chris's
good.
judgment might get wavy when it comes to things like minivans. That's when you should trust Daily Motor.
Definitely.
But when it comes to front wheel drive sports cars, it's kind of got his judgment I will always take. So on that, we're going Honda Civic. Porsche 718s versus Porsche 911s. And
Also, I didn't drive the Mach-E GT Performance, which
neither have I.
I know.
Yeah.
If I would have driven that, it might be different.
Yeah, Ford,
Oh.
it's your fault.
I've driven it.
And you still picked the Honda.
It's actually my fault because I had a baby.
It's actually Austin's fault.
It's Austin's
Austin's fault.
blame
Yep.
the child.
Yep. I would pick.
I'm gonna go 718 in this.
Okay, because you own a Cayman.
No, not because I own a Cayman, but I just think that it's just there's more soul in the 718.
I would buy a 718 before a 911 Turbo S because you can actually it's a much more usable sports car on the street.
But you only have 2 seats.
Yeah, but
Can you
don't-
use the
you don't
back seat in
want-
the 911?
you don't want people with you anyway. When
Did
you're
you guys
driving.
sit in the back of the 911?
You're right.
Did
It's
you
really
sit in the back?
it's
Yeah.
it's for people without legs or heads. But I like those people. They're called children.
My son already doesn't like G-forces, so
I will go with the 718 just because I did get the very gracious opportunity to drive the Boxster Spider, and it's probably the second best car I've ever driven.
What's
for
the
driving
best?
time? 911 GT3.
Okay.
Excuse me.
not COVID.
Not COVID, just beer. Just that.
Just joking on beer.
There we go, ladies and gentlemen. The final four.
Go Wings.
What is it going to be? And apparently we can't center this screen.
I'm
It's just
so-
really bothering.
I'm so surprised that the CX-5 and X5 made it this far.
It's all about the fives, baby.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it. Let's do it, ladies and gentlemen. Final four. Mazda CX-5 versus BMW X5. For me, it's the X5.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go X5. Hey, Chris, did you get all of your cars crowned in time for winter?
Oh, yes. I got just the 4Runner done, actually. I didn't do the Mazda because I might sell it.
Honda Civic,
Should have bought a CX-5.
Porsche 718. Boxster Cayman.
I can't believe the BMW X5 is the final two. I'm gonna go 718 just because 718.
Yeah. Does this include the 4-cylinder ones, too?
Oh, if it does,
If
then
it does. It's the whole
Dang it.
lineup. It's the fact that if you want to get a 718 and you want it to sound good, you have to spend 90 grand.
yeah. But
Um,
you'll never lose money on it. Well, you maybe a little at first, but then actually no. At first you won't. At first you'll make money.
Well, just because of now.
That's true because of now. But like usually any special Porsche like that.
I did drive the 718 Boxster T, which is the base motor.
It didn't
with-
sound too bad. I watched your video.
Yeah, and it's if you lived by a track, you're going to track your Boxster a lot. It'd be totally fine for that. But then I drove the 4-liter, and it was just like, this is just one of the best cars.
I will say, I spent some time in a 981 Boxster S, Cayman S, and I preferred the way the previous generation drove over the new 718s. I feel like the controls in the 981s were a little bit heavier. You had maybe slightly better steering feel. They still sounded fantastic, whereas the new 4-liter inline 6 is a little bit gruffer, and it's a little bit more, I don't know, it's got a lower tone.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't know if the 718 is an improvement on the 981 Boxster Cayman.
I will say, if you step all the way up to the Spider, you get the steering rack from the 991.2 911, and it's excellent.
Okay.
But you did raise a good point in that you can buy a used Boxster or Cayman and still get the same experience, essentially. I mean, you guys compared your first generation Cayman against the new one, and it was like, I still can see why someone would want the
Yeah.
old one.
Yeah.
Whereas you cannot say that about the Civic.
No.
Yes.
The new Civic is a clear step above the previous one. Even if you like the looks of the last one better, looks fade, it's a great car. The new Civic is.
Tis.
I think I'd have to go Civic.
Okay.
I mean, majority rules.
Well, there we have it, folks.
Lord.
Is this what you expected to be doing with your Tuesday night, deciding?
Didn't expect the X5 to be there.
The Civic, I'm not surprised, but the X5, I am pretty surprised that it made it this far.
Wow. All right. Well, let's
So by default.
let's take a look here, and let's take this out of full screen, if we can, F11. Let's just look up BMW X5. Just kind of think about what we're looking at here. So car driver, 9.5 out of 10. Edmunds, 7.9. US News, 8.4. Starts at, according to Google at least, not always correct, but $60,000.
It also
523
I was gonna say.
horsepower.
Yeah, maybe it's not picking the base one.
we're like right on the edge of having too much grill, but not quite. But it's like almost.
I
too
will
much
say it is
grill.
much more attractive than the X7. It still looks like a conventional BMW.
Yeah, yeah. The grill is still pretty
The
big.
Civic has a nicer grill.
It does. Civic does. I think the Civic looks great.
Is a BMW X5 a good car? It's one of the best cars we've ever tested.
Wow, the words of Consumer Reports.
Well, they are the best. BMW's website is not loading, so there we go.
Yeah, it is. Sports activity vehicle.
It does start at 59.4 before destination.
That's an S drive. It's a rear-wheel drive with a 4-cylinder, or is it a 6-cylinder in that?
That's a 4. No, that'd be the 6, right, Chris?
Oh yeah, 40i. 40i is the
and then
V50.
Look at all the powertrains.
Is the X-Drive 45e the cheapest because you get the federal tax rebate?
I think it is actually.
Probably, yeah. If you make that much money, yep. And what a great car that was. And you guys haven't gotten a chance to drive this, but holy shit, is it good?
Okay.
I've driven that powertrain. It's really fun.
Yeah. Let me see.
Charlie, how likely are you to recommend BMW to your friends or colleagues?
Quite likely, apparently.
50%.
I don't
likely.
know. That's a really good point, actually, is what car would we recommend people buy?
Yeah.
And I would, if someone wants to have a car for 10 years, not sure I'd recommend a BMW. I would recommend a Honda Civic all day.
Yeah.
Let's see how car and drivers.
That's an X7.
Oh, that's right. They did end up having an X7. It's the same car, just with 3 rows. But
Felt just short of perfect.
But never skipped a beat.
Yeah, because the warranty was still in effect.
What are its lows?
What's your warranty on a Civic, Chris? Do you know?
It's just 3 or 36,000 miles.
It's nothing special.
Okay.
All right, so that's kind of what we're dealing with. You're dealing with a car that starts at 60 and goes all the way well up. I mean, if you get an X5M, you're talking $150,000 or so.
Which one has 523 horsepower? Is that the M50i or the M?
Probably the M50i.
Yeah.
So the M's got like over 600 horsepower then.
Yeah, it's really bonkers.
Is the new M out yet? It should be, right?
Yeah. Weren't they there at Test Fest?
No, because I would have driven one.
And then the new Civic, also 9.5 from Car and Driver, a little higher from Edmunds. Ooh, only 6.8
That's-
at Car Connection.
That's the exact car we drove right there, that blue one.
This color is really neat. It's a new color for the Civic. Looks really good.
Yeah, I loved that color. That color in sunset was just so pretty.
I think the Civic has so many competitors and it's so easy to compete with that it might be great this year, but is it going to be great in a few years? It'd be very easy for another brand to come out with something to come up and fight against the Civic. I think the X5 is swinging really hard and really heavy, and I just don't think there's anything else in that class that can touch it.
It is maybe the best, like, normal car that BMW makes.
Yeah.
Especially after driving that plug-in hybrid.
Yeah. I mean, I would be fine with owning that X5 45e for, I mean, it's like the do everything vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
You get decent fuel economy, you can commute with it, it's comfortable, it's luxurious. You'd never be out of place anywhere with it, other than maybe, I mean,
But
throw
there's
some 22s
so
on it,
much
you're fine
tech
with
and
it.
so much complexity.
It's going to
It's
break.
going to be a pain to own. You're going to be at the dealership getting stuff fixed over and over again.
Although Zeke says BMW's fine for 10 years with an extended warranty.
There you go.
Just pay more.
Well, Tedward is about to sell his BMW and buy a Civic.
Should we call him to get his input real quick? Has he driven the new Civic?
No, he's just watched my videos like everyone else here.
I don't know if I have him in my contacts.
I
Let me
do.
see.
Or Chris does.
Phone a friend.
He's not under Tom. Is he under Tedward? No, he's not. Someone ring Tedward.
Chris is on it.
Tell him what we're doing, where we're at.
Hello.
Hello, Tom. We are
What's up?
live right now. Car of the year.
Oh no.
And
Turn off.
we're trying to decide between the BMW X5 and the Honda Civic. And we figured you would have some experience in deciding between a BMW and a Honda Civic.
Well, unfairly. Hang on, let me turn off the crown because I'm classy. Unfairly, I'm not a huge X5 fan. I think it's a great car, but I didn't drive it. But I've driven the X7, so that's why it's unfair. I think I have to give this to the Civic, the 11th gen Civic, because the improvements that have been made to refine what we knew in the 10th generation are so overwhelmingly apparent that it's very difficult to get out of that car disappointed. You clearly redefine the entry-level market in that car. And as good as the X5 is, it doesn't do that. So I got to go Civic.
Wow.
That is compelling.
Sums it up right there for me, too.
Yeah, absolutely.
We put you on the spot, and we actually made you a very important part of this
Yeah, this is for the
award
last.
ceremony,
This
'cause
is
we
for the
missed ya.
award. This is the
Yeah.
final one.
I saw. How far along are we? That's the final one?
This is the final one. It came to X5 and Civic. How did the X5 even make it this far?
Man, last year I feel like was a little more exciting. We had like a CLS or whatever that crazy Mercedes was. We had the LC 500. We had all kinds of. I can't believe we're at an X5 and a Civic, but I got to say the Civic really impressed, and I wouldn't hesitate to give it an award. And though, big asterisk on that, Chris will say the same thing, is my goodness, Honda fixed the road noise.
Yeah,
Stop putting Goodyears on your cars.
yeah.
I
No, it's
know.
funny because the Civic bested the Chevrolet Corvette, the 720S, and the Mustang Mach-E. So,
Are you looking at, not that it matters,
In
but are you looking
brackets.
at particularly an SI or like a Touring? Or
The whole lineup.
yeah, kind of the lineup as a whole.
Yeah, I'm fine with this. I will die on this hill for the Civic.
Okay, I think we heard it there. We had to phone a friend,
Yeah.
but
That's not me advocating for CVTs. Go get yourself a 6-speed.
There you go. There you go.
And maybe in 12 months when we hear reliability reports, we might have our changed opinion on the 1.5 liter. But we'll see. As long as they don't mix oil and fuel, we'll be good to go.
I think
Isn't
they
it the
solved
same
that
one-
a few years ago.
it's the same 1.5 that's been out for like 5 years, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they've had some issues in the past. I think it should be solved. I don't expect to see any real issues, especially because they're pushing it so hard. It's nearly impossible to get the 2-liter.
Okay. Well, thank you, Tom. Appreciate you coming in. Sorry we couldn't host you this year. You're driving too cool of cars.
Totally fine. Yeah, we'll have the Murcielago manual up tomorrow. Looking for that's my car of the year. I'm like, everyone told me that was a heap of crap because they said, oh, those old Lamborghinis are terrible. No, they are worth every penny. Go buy yourself a Civic and a Murcielago with a 6-speed. You're gonna be just fine.
It's funny you say that because the Murcielago with a 6-speed is my ultimate dream car. Like that is 100%.
And you won't be disappointed if you meet your hero, as long as it's not like a total like rat trap with no maintenance history.
Fair enough. Well, thank you.
Not a problem. You guys have a good night.
You
too.
too.
man.
Ladies and gentlemen, you heard it there. I'm okay with it. I wanted the X5 to pull through because I loved that car. Honda Civic.
Do it.
Do we have a clap? I don't know.
That's not it.
There we go. The Honda Civic is the Daily Motor best car of the year. It's again not what I expected, and a little less exciting than the LC 500 of last year, but I think well deserved. And I think we're really looking forward to driving that SI. I think that should be a lot of fun.
And then the Type R. Maybe, Charlie, you'll actually like this Type R.
Yeah, maybe I will.
see.
If it's a little more, if it doesn't take itself too seriously, that's the one thing for me. Yeah, but I didn't like the rev hang in the previous gen SI, and Chris said that's a little bit better than this one.
Yeah, before we drove the 11th Gen SI, we actually had a 10th Gen SI that we could take out, and the difference was just enormous. Like, it's just a chasm of a gap. The rev hang on the 10th Gen was seconds long, and the rev hang on the 11th Gen was actually pretty good. The more I drove that car throughout the day, the better it got too, because it only had like 70 miles on it. So
Gotcha.
it was adapting to the driving situations. It was kind of learning my driving style, and it was a really just satisfying, fun, enjoyable, good car to drive.
Well, you heard it here, folks. Right Lane Hog, yes, all the Civics, everything from the base, the 2-liter, the 1.5, the hatch, the sedan, the SI. I should also point out, Chris and I might be a little bit biased considering how many
views we've gotten on all our Civic videos. I
Well,
think
it's
even
just a
ours,
super recommendable
Oh, we got so
car.
many views.
so many views. And I think that just goes to show how many people are excited. I mean, anytime a new Civic comes out, it's a big deal.
I think the Civic and the Mazda CX-5 are the most recommendable cars on this list, and the most like often vehicles that we've actually recommended to people that we know who are looking for cars to buy. Like that, the RAV4 is up there too.
Yeah.
Well,
and
and
even
that's important.
And even the X5 and the 718, I think if someone asked you, like, I'm going to go buy a sports car tomorrow, what should I get? Like, 718 would probably be up there in the top of, if you didn't know their financial situation, if you didn't know what they care, like, 718 is the most recommendable. And X5, if they just said, like, I want a luxury vehicle, all things considered, kind of the best way you can go. I mean, it's going to be so comfortable. It's going to be so luxurious. It's going to drive well. It's got all-wheel drive. It's got various powertrains, competitively priced. I mean, we joke about BMW reliability, but honestly, at this point, iDrive's been out for 15 years. It's not really any crazy tech going in the X5. Like,
Yeah, but it's all the 50,000 sensors and ECUs.
but you're going to get that with any luxury vehicle, I guess
guess
is what
so,
I mean.
yeah.
You know, it's the Mercedes S580 would be much worse. So, yeah, I'd be very happy owning a Honda Civic, and I think that's good
Still,
enough
though,
reason right there.
a lot of great cars on
A
this
lot
list
of
this
great
year.
cars.
So many great vehicles.
Mhm.
And it's exciting to see the introduction of some really great EV competitors to Tesla, finally.
Yep.
Even if that's just, the Audi RS e-tron GT and
And the Mach-E. Yep.
But the BRZ is also really exciting. I think that is
So
a car
exciting,
that's going to
apparently, that the
evolve.
font got different. I don't know.
But like that's a car that's going to be evolved by Toyota and Subaru over time, and they're going to listen to consumers and what their complaints are, and they're going to come out with special editions and this and that, and like that finally has enough power to be a proper sports car, and that's going to be an absolute weapon on track. It's going to be passing some much faster cars.
And respect to the G70, it didn't make it all that far, but just the fact that it's keeping sedans relevant. I mean, it might have been, aside from the S-Class, it might have been the sedan that made it the furthest. I guess it tied with a few others. Yeah. But I think what makes this list cool is that it really it dilutes down the best of the cars in terms of just all of their attributes put together. And even though the BRZ is good, the S580 is good, it really gets down to the cars that really make a statement and you'd want to own.
Someone said currently replacing the water pump and thermostat on my E90.
That's just
Never
Ghost Edward.
again.
Yep.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. I think that's enough reason to go with a Honda.
Lucas Locks is right with a GR Corolla next year. Hopefully we'll have something along those lines.
Yeah.
It's been too long.
Yeah, we're going to get out of here pretty quick, but just with a few more minutes, what are some things we are looking forward to next year? I'm looking forward to Toyota coming out with their electric car, the stupid name one, BZ4R, whatever
Subaru?
it is. No, well, the Subaru is the Solterra.
Oh.
But Toyota, sorry, I don't know what I said, but Toyota's coming out with an electric vehicle that's based on the RAV4. That should be really good.
All I know is it's the same name as Elon Musk's son. I think Toyota tried to do that on purpose.
Take it over.
Yeah.
The Corolla, the GR Corolla's coming out. We haven't driven the new Cadillacs, I should say, the CT4 and CT5V Blackwings.
I was going to say, we need
those
the Blackwings.
will be eligible next year after we've driven them. What else? Ioniq 5. Yeah, there's going to be some really cool cars.
A lot of great EV options.
Yep, 100%. Curious what the next WRX is going to look like from Zeke. Absolutely. That could be a lot of fun. It could be a huge...
Nissan,
Either way.
Nissan
looks like a
400Z.
400Z. Yep. A lot of great options.
Oh, Integra.
Oh, yeah. New Integra. So, I
Integra.
mean, it's really just a Honda Civic. So, really, it should be good, right?
It's going to be a longer Civic hatch.
Integra might win next year.
You never know.
Nope.
Cool. Well, thank you all so much for watching. Solid 2 hours. We really appreciate all of your support, both tonight and throughout all of the Daily Motor and Topher adventures. I don't think we made it to 20,000 subscribers. What did we get up to here? 73.
I'm ready to hit the red button for our outro.
Okay.
And you have to say drive on, too.
Of course. Thank you all to Chris Brower for stepping up and shooting so many Daily Motor videos and a lot of probably uncredited Topher social media stuff as well. If any of you follow
yeah.
the Topher on Instagram and TikTok, a lot of that's actually being done by Substitute Topher. So going on trips, you're going next week to drive the new stupid Passport, right?
The Passport.
I can say that because
Trail.
Honda Civic won the award.
That's right. Yeah, the Trail Sport. I think it's called Passport Trail Sport. It's got a spare tire
a
in the back.
trophy truck.
Yeah, I'm riding in a
Oh,
trophy
you're riding
truck.
in that too?
Yeah.
That'll be pretty cool.
I rode in that and got video, and it was garbage. So maybe you can get something better. I don't
Oh
know.
yeah, I need to like ask.
I need to set you up
about
with a
that.
helmet.
They're gonna put you in a suit. So
Oh,
good luck.
okay.
And thanks to Chris, of course, as always. Without him, we would not be here week in and week out. If you all are not subscribed to these two guys' channels, you should be. The Topher and Topher Drives. Don't get them confused.
Yeah. I'll have more videos soon.
People said, cool stuff. Thanks, guys. Had a blast. After seeing the Elantra N, they need to put more cars in for the money. Yeah, I think Elantra N will be a contender next year as well. I think Kona N will be a little bit further off. Thank you, Right Lane Hog. Appreciate that. Appreciate all
I just
of you.
want to say it's been really, really fun working with you guys this year. Like that's kind of the best thing about all of this is just being able to work with some people because I've been a one-man show for so long. It's getting a little bit old, so it's been great to have some help and have some people like bounce ideas off. And Charlie and I like disagree a lot on cars, which is really nice because we can kind of talk about things and suss it out, and then we can maybe come to some agreements, which is great too. So
Yeah.
it's been fun.
This has been like the best year of my life. So.
No, this is
Yeah.
the goal. This is the dream.
It is pretty cool to get to do the things we do, and it wouldn't be possible without all of you. I mean, obviously, we have 20,000 subscribers here at Daily Motor. You are getting up toward what, 300,000?
340 or something. Yeah.
Yeah, 340.
Or,
Yeah,
yeah.
well up there. So it's really cool to see all that happen, and we appreciate that from all of you. And I know it wasn't too long ago that both of us were in Chris Brower's shoes of the first year of really getting to just be with all these cars, and the fact that we can look at all these and be like, oh yeah, I drove that. It's okay.
It's been cool, like watching, Chris be all green about all this stuff because he's, experiencing all this from a really fresh perspective. And it kind of takes me back to my early years of doing this when, I forgot because we've been around the press pool for quite a while. We're getting a little bit jaded.
It's inevitable.
And Chris brings us back to our roots sometimes, which is nice.
Being passionate about just a stupid little car that it's still got a lot of merit. So, and I think we see that with Honda Civic being
the Kia
best car
Rio
on.
wasn't on here.
I took it out. It was in there at one point.
All I will say about the Kia Rio is we had
Best
that
car.
and a 720S the same week, and I didn't mind the Kia Rio.
It wasn't that
It
bad.
was
You're
great.
right.
It fit a really nice chest of drawers in the back.
Yep.
I drove it to
Kind
Chicago.
of missed it when it left.
Oh yeah, you did.
Yeah.
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 Kia Rio was good.
You need to. Next year we'll have an award segment of cars Chris Brower drove to
I was
Chicago.
gonna say
Best Chicago tour.
best car that Sub Topher drove to Chicago.
Yep. Thank you all so much for watching. As I've always said, we will not be in with a live drive next week. We're taking a little bit of a week off, but we'll have videos coming up as always, and we will see you on the next one. From all of us here at Daily Motor and subsequent channels, drive on. And
Are we off the internet?